Welcome to the biggest gaming playground in the world, where 500,000 people come together to play, connect, and celebrate across Cologne. 1,500 exhibitors, the biggest names in the gaming industry, bringing countless games for you to explore and dominate. And we're just getting started. Ready to jump into some gameplay? Then get set for Gamescom Opening Night Live, featuring the major announcements and brand new game trailers. Less watching, more playing? Then stop by Gamescom's unique indie area, where you're in control of the most creative and unique projects from beloved indie studios. And if that's not enough, don't miss Gamescom Awesome Indies, our show featuring the hottest new titles from the scene. Or become the hero yourself and step into the Gamescom cosplay contest, bringing cosplayers and fans together from around the globe for an unforgettable community experience. Join live shows, esports tournaments, and creator events at the Gamescom Event Arena. Can't make it to Gamescom in person? Visit our website gamescom.global and experience all program highlights via our content hub, Gamescom Now. While you're there, make your voice count in the Gamescom Award. Vote for the most exciting games, groundbreaking products, and jaw-dropping innovations presented here at Gamescom. Do you remember our incredible friends and gaming experts from IGN? Of course, they're back, hosting full days of Gamescom studio live streams on Twitch and YouTube. Oh, hey, AP, crashing the party. You'll find our all-time favorite RPG Gamescom epics on our website. Join the community and grab your loot. Now moving on to something that is very important to us, our initiative Gamescom Cares. We want to shine a light on social and environmental responsibility. In order to reduce emissions, Gamescom runs on 100% renewable energy. Just as important, accessibility is key for us. Gamescom should be a safe, inclusive space for everyone. Speaking of inclusive spaces, the Gamescom City Festival is taking over the city with live music, awesome shows, and all kinds of fun. Did we mention? Entry to the City Festival is free for everyone. Welcome to the playground. Welcome to Gamescom.
Gamescom 2025, the biggest gaming event on Earth is here, and IGN is giving you a front row seat from the comfort of your own home. We've got you covered. Today on Gamescom Studio, we've got deep dives and brand new looks at some of the biggest upcoming games, like Silent Hill F, Sonic Racing Crossworlds, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, Invincible Versus, and so much more. Day 4 of IGN's coverage of Gamescom 2025 starts right now.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Day 4 of Gamescom Studio here on IGN. I'm Max Scoville, and I'm with my good pals Jada Griffin and Brian Altano.
We've got an awesome show planned for today. I get to talk Sonic Racing Crossworlds, which I'm pumped for. What are you guys looking forward to?
Well, Max and I will be checking out High on Life later today, which does what all video game sequels should do and lets you ride around on a skateboard instead of just walking.
Radical. Very excited for that one. But right now, let's check in with Damon out on the stage to see what's going on next.
Hello there. Coming up very soon, we're checking out some upcoming horror games arriving in time for Halloween, including Silent Hill F, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, and Reanimal. We're about to check in with Ian out in the field, and after that, it's time for Dying Light the Beast. All that and more right here on Gamescom Studio.
Welcome to Saturday here at Gamescom 2025. We've got loads of treats coming up for you on the show floor, including a chat with the developers of Silent Hill F about their controversial combat system. We'll also be checking out Routine, a sci-fi retro futuristic horror game, and we'll be meeting the developers of Super Meat Boy 3D. There's all that and loads more coming up for you here at Gamescom 2025.
In just a few short weeks, fans everywhere will be climbing, jumping, and smashing their way through Dying Light the Beast. And with me to answer some of our burning questions is franchise director Timon Smektala. Welcome, Timon. Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, it's a pleasure to be here.
So it's been a while since we've seen series protagonist, first game protagonist.
Yep.
Kyle Crane.
10 years.
10 long years.
Yes,
10
absolutely.
years for us.
10 years for us,
And
but
a long
actually even
10
more
years
for him.
For him.
Yep.
Why did you bring him back for the Beast?
Because we love Kyle Crane, but actually our love for Kyle Crane is like this, but our community love for Kyle Crane reaches the roof. So everyone is crazy about Kyle Crane within the players of Dying Light. And we have been hearing on every meeting, every event, can you bring the guy back? Like, we want him back. Where is Kyle Crane? So we decided to do so. This is the 10th anniversary of the series for us, because the first game was released 10 years ago. So we decided it's time for Kyle Crane to get back. But then I also need to say something to the newcomers, to the people who have never heard about Dying Light or Kyle Crane. Guys, don't be afraid. You can play the Beast. The game explains itself beautifully. You will get who the character is, and he's actually quite cool and quite unique.
And while we've been waiting for Kyle Crane to come back, he's been having a terrible time.
Yes, absolutely. So he was captured and he was experimented upon by this guy named the Baron. So Baron is like kind of this mad scientist that's trying to achieve his sinister goal. Of course, I'm not spoiling. But to do that, he was experimenting on Kyle. He was kind of tweaking his DNA, injecting some nasty stuff into his veins. And because of that, he wanted to break Kyle, but actually he created a monster. He created the Beast. And in this game, Kyle Crane is the Beast. He's not only a master survivalist, he can survive on his own, in the woods, in the forest, using machetes, crafting weapons, crafting accessories, like finding some bandages, etc. But then from time to time, under pressure, when he gets agitated, he can unleash the rage, the fury, the wrath within him, something that we are calling the Beast mode. And it's really cathartic. Like, this is a moment where you can really kind of turn the tables and deal damage and pay to the world what it's doing to you.
So he's a much angrier dude this time around.
He is angrier, and actually at the start of the game he's actually super angry. Like, this is like, you can feel that in his emotions, in how he talks. We have a great voice actor, Roger Craig Smith, basically a legend in voice acting business, and it's really conveyed very well. Like, you play the game and you feel that there's a lot bubbling in the guy. But then he starts meeting people. He escapes the Baron's lab with the help of a character named Olivia. Then he meets survivors that are trying to struggle in this valley of Castor Woods where the game takes place. And like, as always, like when you talk to people, you kind of soften a little. He opens a little to them. He realizes that he cannot really take revenge on Baron by himself. He needs to create an opposition, like build an opposition against him. So he's basically helping other people to motivate them to oppose the Baron.
All right, I want to get into Beast mode, but just quickly, tell me about Castor Woods, the new setting, the new location.
Oh, it's beautiful. I guess if I wouldn't be there, I would love to be in Castor Woods, because it's a place which is modeled after Swiss Alps. So it's like we can see that on the screen, it's like a very beautiful valley. Mountains on the horizon, touristy town in the middle, lots of forests, hiking trails, farm fields. We also have like dirtier, like less beautiful places, let's say swamps or generally a lot of like dark forests, but it's a place that you would love to visit if not for the zombies there, right? So and actually what's interesting is that it's quite a new place for us, because all of the Dying Light games have been taking place inside cities, and this is different. Like, they are not everywhere it's so easy to parkour, not everywhere it's so easy to kind of chain those moves, but because of that, it works better for the survival horror experience that Dying Light the Beast brings, because you feel fragile, you feel exposed, you feel that the zombies can see you from afar, and it really adds a lot to the atmosphere and the tension that you feel in the game.
Okay, and so we're seeing a lot of key differences from the previous Dying Light games, but also like the series DNA, the Dying Light DNA.
Absolutely.
What have you learned making these Dying Light games that you brought to the Beast?
Oh, a lot, but I think the most important thing is we have learned that you need to focus on details, because actually the details are the things that make the Dying Light experience, like how the sun moves on the horizon, like when the zombies, the sun sets, they look at the sun setting down, like all of those little things, the physics of combat, like when you hit a zombie, like how detailed the reactions are. With Dying Light games, we're always striving to create something that's very immersive, something that really puts you into the world that you have created. And what we discovered is that you cannot really achieve that if you only are using like very broad brush strokes. You really need to nail all of the details. So this is something that we have learned as developers, but also something that we have learned from our community. I think the generally all of the communities for all of the games are very brutal right now for developers, because they really kind of look at very specific, very small things. And as a developer, you just have to deliver that to make the players happy.
Yeah, players are demanding, and they have an eye for
Yes,
detail.
exactly.
For real, for real.
Exactly.
So in the recent preview on IGN for
Yep.
Dying Light: The Beast, we called Beast Mode like Super Dying Light.
Absolutely.
So how does the game? Tell me, how does the game change when you're in Beast Mode?
Well, it changes a lot. So, like, we had some experience with that, because Dying Light game also has the day and night cycle that changes the experience, right? So even with the day and night cycle, we almost have like 2 games in one. And now with the Beast Mode, we again have 2 games in one, because when you are not in the beast mode, you are a regular human. Like, you can jump as far as a human can, you can hit as strong as a human can. And to survive, you have to use all of your brains, all of your instincts. And in the beast mode, you really get brutal, you really get powerful. You can run faster, you can jump higher, you can reach places which are basically unreachable to humans. So this kind of opens a new layer of the map and opens a new layer of possibilities for you to solve challenges in front of you. At the start of the game, you don't have that much control over when you trigger the beast mode, where you go into the beast mode, because the rage is so kind of bubbling, as I said, inside Kyle, that sometimes it just bursts. And then you can basically, then you are using this mostly for combat. But what happens in the middle part of the game, where you start to control the beast mode a little bit more, you can actually start using it to, as I said, to get to the places to solve traversal, geometrical puzzles. So it really is kind of like another tool that you can use as you explore, as you are trying to survive in this world.
Okay, so Beast Mode eventually becomes a choice that you can
Yes,
turn
absolutely,
on and off.
absolutely.
And is the game still scary? Is it still a horror game?
It is.
Even when you're a beast?
It is, and there's a couple of reasons why that happens. So first of all, we have really we have spent a lot of time trying to get the atmosphere right, get the kind of the feel of the game right. And I think this is the most important thing in a game like this, because to get scared, you need to get drawn into the experience. You really need to feel that you are there, you need to focus on the screen, probably you dim your lights in your room when you play it, and then when you're there, every jump scare, every emergent moment, then they can really scare you, right? If you play kind of carelessly, without paying attention much, then it's hard to scare you. So the first thing that we do is we basically put all of the strings, the music, the visuals, to get you into the screen, and then jump scares, emergent behaviors of our volatiles, the night predators. That's actually very interesting, because of how they are coded. As developers, we are also getting scared by them. We also don't know what they are going to do, because they have, not only they behave kind of like smart beings, very powerful and scary, but still smart beings, but they're actually designed in a way that sometimes you think they're doing something, they're going in this direction, but sometimes they just start twitching and suddenly turn around, right? So they constantly keep you on your toes. And so there's a number of things that we are doing to get you scared. And the beast mode doesn't destroy it at all, because still the beast mode is basically time limited. You cannot use it all the time. You don't have control for it for a very long duration of the game. So of course, it is a helper, I would say. It is something that can allow you to get through some difficulties, but it's a very scary game, really.
Okay. Obviously, Beast Mode is major. It's the big deal. Other new things in the game, though. I understand you've got a flamethrower, a grenade launcher.
Absolutely. So there's a bunch of experience. So there are vehicles for one, so you don't have to parkour everywhere. Sometimes you can just drive. Of course, we are trying to keep the survival feel of the game, so the vehicle can be destroyed. You need to fuel that, so it's not again like a solution to everything. You mentioned flamethrower. Absolutely, a number of weapons, new weapons, saw blade launcher that we have just saw, flamethrower, grenade launcher, a couple of additional things that we have hidden in the game. I generally advise anyone to play the game and really explore it, because when you look behind the corner, if you look like what's hidden here and there, you will find plenty of items, secrets, Easter eggs, and weapons that make the experience more enjoyable.
Do you have a personal favorite among the new weapons?
I think the flamethrower, really. Like, for some reason, like, okay, maybe it's not the first thing that you do in a zombie game, but still a flamethrower zombies kind of makes sense, right? So we have added flamethrower now, and it's really like very cool to just hold it. You see a horde of zombies in front of you. You just spray them with fire. I really like that.
Classic. Can't
yes,
wait for
classic,
that.
absolutely.
Thank you so much, Timon.
Thanks so much.
And there you have it. Thanks, Timon, for stopping by. Dying Light the Beast drops September the 19th on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series and PC, and you can wishlist it right now on the official Gamescom Steam event. For more Gamescom 2025, please stick with IGN.
Experience the sprawling metropolis of Hethro in NTE, Neverness to Everness, a free-to-play open-world RPG full of supernatural phenomena and anomalies. As a member of the Bureau of Anomaly Control, you'll use your Esper abilities to traverse the skylines and streets in search of enemies interrupting day-to-day life. Your roster of Bureau of Anomaly Control agents each have unique abilities to help them explore the city, capitalize on enemy weaknesses, and synergize to unleash devastating attacks. Pre-registration for NTE is open now. Let's take a look at the trailer for NTE.
The average Cinefix movie list features nearly 100 different films and approximately 25 minutes worth of wall-to-wall deep dive analysis. To simulate that pace for this 30-second ad, we're featuring 26 different films, and before you say it, no, that math does not check out. We're not math people, we're movie people. We can't even count down from 10 without ending up at, like, 96. Subscribe to IGN Movies and TV for more Cinefix movie lists. Bad at math, great at movies.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN strategy guides and interactive maps are here to help.
One step at a time.
IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and so much more.
See? It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.
IGN Plus is where your adventure begins.
What are you selling?
Plus is the place to get unlimited access to all the tools you need to beat your games.
Here's what you need to know for bringing down Gloomspawn.
Plus, awesome exclusive discounts on IGN Store.
Maybe this would tease open your money pouch.
Plus, ad-free browsing on IGN.com. Plus, unlimited game help tools like premium interactive maps with your own custom map markers, filters, marker notes, and more.
This will come in handy.
Plus, access to sweepstakes, giveaways, and free game keys.
Wow! Exactly.
Want more? Head to IGN.com/plus and start your adventure today.
Despite the massive hype for Silent Hill F, I think it's pretty safe to say that longtime series fans have been a little bit concerned about what's been perceived to be a shift in combat styles towards something a little bit more Souls-like. In order to calm those fears, I decided to speak to series producer Okamoto-san and director Al Yang to find out exactly how the combat works.
excited.
So this is one of the things that we see the term Souls-like being thrown around on the internet quite a bit. And I think it's a label that's a little bit disingenuous right now. So I think a lot of modern players, they'll see like, oh, there's a stamina meter, there's a dodge, and they're like, okay, it's a Souls-like. But to be very honest, a lot of these things we actually pulled from classic Silent Hill titles. So if you look at Silent Hill 4, there's a charge meter in there for your attacks, kind of like our focus meter. And then for even Silent Hill 3, there's a stamina meter. You see it later on. But these things aren't new and exclusive to Souls-like games. They've been part of action horror games for a very, very long time. And for us, we think it's a label that if you have these things, you're labeled as a Souls-like. And we'd like to reiterate that we are an action horror game, but we are not a Souls-like. When we were looking at Silent Hill F, this is the first Silent Hill title for a very long time. And of course, we wanted to respect the older fans out there, but also kind of bring in kind of fresh blood, maybe people who haven't played Silent Hill. And because of this, we spent a lot of time kind of looking at the classic titles and be like, okay, what's the gameplay that people could expect here? But what's also some gameplay that newer fans might be interested in? And one of the things we really settled on is Silent Hill 4 had a very extensive combat system that was also very melee focused. So from here, we basically said, okay, if we're going to do this, we still have to have all the trademarks of classic kind of a horror gaming, traditional horror gaming combat. So there's some things that are very interesting and very similar, which is like distance. If you are closer to someone in a traditional horror game with guns, then it means it's more dangerous, you know? And then because of that, you have things like kind of aiming, your crosshairs, they have to kind of go in. There's a lot of time, there's a lot of weight. It slows down the entire pacing of the game. So because we settled on melee combat, because we wanted to kind of go in a fresh direction, we had to take a lot of these core systems that slowed down the pace, that regulated combat in traditional horror games, and then find an analogy for them in our title. So again, aiming and then crosshairs going down is kind of like our focus meter. Again, there's precedence for this. If you look back to Silent Hill 3, Heather, again, not the biggest character out there, not full of muscles, kind of deal. So again, we looked to her for a lot of inspiration. And on the combat side, you'll notice we focused on two major things. One is that you don't feel like a superhero. There's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of combat, but it shouldn't feel like you're just one-shotting everything. You're just crazy overpowered. Honestly, it's always a fight for survival. It's tense. You have to pick your fights very carefully because you have limited resources here. And at the same time, we've took a lot of effort in designing her emotions, all the animations. So it's like she's struggling. These are heavy weapons. She's flailing wildly. It's less about skill and more about survival. And I hope the players can kind of see that through the way that she acts and then her motions.
So for those types of players, we have a type of experience in the form of a difficulty setting called story mode. So for players who want that type of experience, we would like to recommend the story mode difficulty.
So again, for the sanity system, this is one of the support mechanics for the game. And as we said before, we want to put the game in a more action-based focus, but again, we don't want to alienate kind of classic Silent Hill players or players who might not be as familiar with action games. So sanity system, what it allows you to do is, for instance, there are counters in the game and you have to kind of grab the right timing for it. But by expending this resource, it kind of slows everything down. It slows the pace of the game down so that players are able to easier grasp this thing or execute stronger moves. So a good analogy is in classic traditional range-based horror games, you have to wait for the crosshair to shrink before you get maximum damage. And again, that slows the pacing of the game down. For us, the focus is kind of the same deal with using the sanity system. It's like, okay, I'm really trying to pay attention to the monster here. Until my gauge fills up, I can unleash a stronger, like a headshot attack. But in the middle, if they decide to attack me, then I have a much stronger window to basically counter back. So it's there to really regulate the pace of the gameplay and to kind of help the player defeat combat easier.
It's got my home too. The halls, the doors, everything's changed.
So the types of elements that longtime fans can expect from this game are the types of elements that you would expect from traditional Silent Hill games, like the environment, the graphics, the storytelling. All of those traditional elements, players can expect to find those. And for this game, the core aspect of the game's narrative focuses around the protagonist Hinako and her struggles of trying to fight the societal oppression that women face. So for this game, players can follow her journey and follow along her path towards trying to fight back against such types of suppression. So from there, yes, again, if you try out the story mode, you'll be able to follow her journey very much up close.
Because it's the newest game in a very long kind of running series, and it's been a bit of a hiatus. For us, the most important things is to go back and grab the atmosphere, like that classic tension and dread, the kind of not knowing what's around the corner. Like, I think for us, the atmosphere in Silent Hill is something very unique that no other game has, so we spent a lot of time making sure that fans would kind of recognize this, not just from the gameplay, but also from, there's some story deep cuts I think some longtime fans might pick up on and enjoy, but then just like in the beginning of the game, as you're walking down the hill, the empty kind of town might seem familiar to some longtime fans. So some things aren't very direct, for instance, but we try to make a lot of things in the game that would feel at home to a lot of these longtime fans.
With that in mind, today's a bit too extraordinary.
Hi, yes, Silent Hill Elf will be coming out in September 25th on the Xbox platforms, PS5, Steam, Epic Store, and Microsoft Windows.
Who are you? Please. Just die.
Massive thanks there to Okamoto-san and Al Yang for answering my questions. Now, one thing I want to bring up is something they told me off camera, and that is that the gameplay of Silent Hill F is actually cyclical, and that there are multiple endings that you can unlock through repeated play. And also that as you play, you can unlock new skills and strengths for Hinako. That means if you start on story difficulty and then play on harder difficulties, you'll have experience from the playtime before, and Hinako will be slightly stronger than before. This is a game that's meant to be replayed multiple times, so there is no shame in starting the game on story mode, experiencing that classic Silent Hill story, and then going in and experiencing some of that harder combat. Anyway, hopefully this has calmed your fears a little bit, but for more about Silent Hill F, stay tuned to us here at Gamescom 2025.
We're here at Gamescom 2025, and at Gamescom 2025, there's been some games that are long overdue, like Hollow Knight Silksong is the prime example, but we've got to see another one that's been coming for a very long time, and that's a sci-fi horror game called Routine. Matt, tell us about Routine.
Dale, this is from a studio called Luna Software. They're basically 3 people working out of a room in Manchester.
Yeah.
And they've been working on this for like a decade. We saw it way back around 2013. It's since gone through, I think, like 2 engine upgrades. It's gone from Unreal 3 to 5. And it is a first-person sci-fi kind of horror game, but it feels unlike any horror game I've played before. It's like real slow burn, kind of like eerie atmosphere, not kind of a jump scare game at all.
No, I mean, the trailers make it look like it's perhaps more horror, and it might be like in the full game, it might have way more horror elements. But what we saw was way more of like a style piece. So this game is like full of 80s VHS aesthetic, really. That's what they're going for.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Alien Isolation is going to be the thing that I think immediately comes to mind. It uses a lot of that kind of analog VHS, a lot of interfaces that have that old school retro sci-fi kind of appeal to it.
Yeah.
You can tell that the guy that's kind of the lead on the team is obsessed with like 1980s technology. He wants all of those kind of clicky buttons and sort of clanky interfaces. And you really see that by the fact that like the main tool that you use throughout this game is called the CAT, the Cosmonaut Assistance Tool. And it kind of looks like a gun. It's like a big sort of thing that you have in your hand, but it's got a camera module on it. It basically looks like you're carrying around a Walkman attached to an old 80s camera, attached to various other kind of things. It's weird in the way that like it might be a weapon slash tool slash hacking device, but it almost works. Do you get what I mean by it's almost like a flight sim in the way that every button on it you manually have to press, you have to manually slide things into it to use it as part of the environment.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, we're talking about the VHS aesthetic. That's not just a visual like screen thing. It's also the idea of like the way that cartridges load in, the way you add power and elements. There's all these flipping mechanical hinges and actual like buttons. My favorite thing when you talk about the developer who's obsessed with this aesthetic is when he was talking about designing UI elements. Like, how do we get it so this game has no UI or intention to have no UI, and so it's all about being in the environment, teaching the player where to press buttons, what to do. And I floated the idea of like, oh, maybe you could have an LED light around the button. He was like, absolutely not. Did not want that at all. He wants to stay true to that aesthetic.
Yeah, it is like, it feels really authentic to that time. Of course, the idea is that you're on this kind of lunar base, and it's can really only be described as kind of an American mall, but set on the moon.
It's so strange.
It's set in the 90s, but it's as if in the 1980s we colonized the moon and created this area.
Right.
And basically you're exploring it, you're trying to figure out really what's happened. Everything has clearly gone to hell in a handbasket. I'm kind of getting a Soma vibe to it, like you're on your own. And rather than it being a horror game that is about kind of like shooting zombies or outrunning monsters, it's much more about kind of figuring out what happened here. That's not to say that there aren't enemies. There are these kind of robots that are stationed around this kind of shopping center. And you're trying to find your way through to find different items, essentially keys to unlock the next section of the map, while these robots are kind of on patrol. Now, when I say they're on patrol, most of the time they kind of sit around not doing a lot, but then triggers in the environment, so you'll pass in front of them, and then suddenly they start chasing you. Then it becomes a little bit closer to something like Alien Isolation, or maybe a bit like the Stalker enemies that we've spoken about that have been Resident Evil this year.
Sure. I'd say the big difference there is though those Stalkers are you can often outrun, and when you've made space, you're free. But Routine seems to have this really clever system that they described to us, which has a bunch of robots that are lined up that aren't active. However, it's almost like Ultron. It's like there's one consistent being active at any time, and if you move into the proximity of the next one will activate. So like just running away isn't going to solve your problem. You're just going to bump into the next one.
Yeah, so for example, kind of like I was being chased by one of these robots, and the atmosphere that it does for that is really good. The sound design really makes it feel like it's on your tail. And then when I kind of outran it down a corridor and got into the next room, and in that room was another robot, and so the AI leaps out of the brain of the robot that was chasing me into the one that's now in front of me, and suddenly now I have to kind of work on my feet and get away. Of course, the CAT device is a weapon to some degree. All it does is overload them, temporarily disable them, and use a hell of a lot of battery in the process.
So
there's a lot of kind of like that management of your resources in a way, because it's all the battery power, but sort of management of the space and making sure you're using the station effectively. I think very much like indicates through the way that you can crouch and you can look under things, you can lean around areas. It's very much about analyzing the space before you do anything within it.
And interestingly, like we touched on earlier, they're trying to use UI completely, and what that's resulted in is computer screens that look like 80s computer screens, really, that you hack into and then you control. And then your right stick, I'd assume, if you're playing on controller, controls like the mouse on screen, and then you're actually using a computer monitor as well to get the necessary information you need to get about the environment that you're in. It's very clever.
Yeah, so one of the things that I think was interesting about that is there is a sequence where you need to get through a door. And this is very, very classic kind of any video game, right? You need to find the key code to get through the door. For this, you could open up the emails and you could get to the point where a key code displayed, but all it did was it showed you the numbers on screen, and you needed to work out what the person before you in this world had typed in.
Yeah.
The way you did that was that you used a module in the cat that put a UV filter over the camera, so you could see where kind of like the blood stains were on the screen. But obviously, because the UI can move and you can literally move the windows around it, you had to then line up the kind of UI that have got the control panel over where those fingerprints were, and then work out, okay, if this person had got blood on their fingers, where would they have put the blood first, and the blood would have worn off their fingers as they tapped in, and that's how you worked out the order of the code. Tap it in, door opens, robots behind door, terror ensues.
I would say the short demo that we had felt, we were under a bit of constraint because we got a short appointment. But I really think this is the game that you're going to want to sink your teeth into. Like, you're really going to want to take your time and explore these environments. There's not hints, there's not waypoints. It's really about exploring the environment and working out where to go next, and really taking your time, which, in a world of the modern like Call of Duty games where everything's about going as fast as possible, it's quite refreshing.
It's very hardcore in that way.
Yeah.
It is a game designed for people to fully immerse themselves in. And I think you're right. Like, we only got to play for about 25 minutes, which I don't think was anywhere near long enough to even really get to grips with how the gun worked. When I say that you manually have to press every switch, you literally, to move it from one module to another, have to press a button to hold the gun in front of you, rotate it, push the button that you want, rotate the gun back, then stare down its kind of camera module or whatever. I think it probably will take about 2 or 3 hours to really get to grips with how all that works, and how even like the UI system that runs all the way through it, because there are these constant computer terminals that you can hack into, because you're a software engineer is part of what your character can do. I think that is going to take a long time to understand, on top of the idea that the objectives simply do not explain themselves to you.
Yeah. One thing we haven't really touched on, and probably the last thing we should mention, is I didn't get to actually hear the game. So I was watching you play through the game, but you were playing it with headphones on, and I get the impression that the sound is particularly impactful.
Yeah, it's got that real, if you watch the trailers, you'll see how that VHS aesthetic is also represented in the music as well.
Yeah.
Like these ambient sounds and kind of like underlying kind of melodies. I hesitate to say melodies. It's not that sort of game. It doesn't have
drones.
Yeah. It's got that real, I'd say Alien Isolation is probably a good point to put it, but then you've also got like the real distinct mechanical sounds of these robots that are kind of stalking you through the facilities when you've woken them up. And they also have this, you'll notice in the trailer, they can kind of like reach out and grab you, and they've got this weird kind of like face kind of module that opens up with teeth in it. And when they do that, they kind of make very strange, you can hear like almost like the tape reels inside them getting chewed up and like falling out of place. It's unsettling in a way that I don't see this as a game where you're going to be in action sequences probably for not much more than maybe 10% of the entire game, but I think at all points you're going to feel like unnerved, unsettled, in that way a lot like what Soma was.
Yeah. Oh, it's very exciting, and I think we get to play it quite soon as well. Like, it's coming out later this year. Can you believe it? We're getting Silksong and we're getting Routine. They're finally coming out. What's next? Star Citizen? I don't know. Like, we're going to get something else. But anyway, make sure you keep watching IGN's coverage of Gamescom 2025.
This is Gamescom Studio on IGN. This is the biggest gaming event on the planet. It's bigger every year. Here to tell us a little bit about how it comes together, Stefan Heikhaus, Director of Gamescom and Events for the German Games Industry Association. Welcome.
Thank you, Dan.
So congrats, another big, successful Gamescom. I've been coming to the show for a long time. We don't have anything on this scope and size back in the US where I'm from. What's your sort of like take on what's new with Gamescom? What's sort of like your take on how it's been evolving over the years? I know in 2019 there were 373,000 people here.
Yeah, so
Gamescom exists now since 17 years. We are in our 17th years, and it's only Saturday morning, so still 2 days to go. And there will be a couple of 10,000 fans which are just waiting to come inside. And yes, it's Gamescom is not about big movements. It's about looking at trends and turning them into immersive, great experiences for consumers. And therefore, Gamescom changed over the course of the 1.5 decades. Corona was a hard hit, but Corona helped us to understand that the key to success for such events like Gamescom lays in the combination of digital and physical experiences. I mean, there was a time around Corona where people thought that everything goes digital. You don't need anything else than digital. Also, big companies thought that the time for physical events is gone. I think Gamescom is a very, very good example for that this is not true. And this year we also feel from the vibes from the exhibitors, but also from the consumers, that they all understand that this is the case. So the engagement of many exhibitors has grown over the time since COVID.
What are some of, you mentioned following industry trends, what are some of the biggest trends that you're looking at today?
So there's last year we stepped on the trends with cards and boards, and we added artist area, because this is also something which is tiny if you compare the artist area with halls like we are sitting in, hall 7 with these big publishers and big companies and big booths. But there are more of this kind. So for example, anime and manga is one of these trends that we already see since a couple of years, and we are monitoring these trends very closely. But it needs more than just being a trend that we include it into our program. It also has to fit into the overall experience, because we already have anime and manga, to stick with this example, on the fair, but it's not. On the event, but it's not that it has its own area or something like that. To get an own area, you need more of it. Then we need also an idea how to set this into practice, and how can we be leading in an area.
Yesterday, here at Gamescom Studio and IGN, we presented the Gamescom Awards, the big award show. And each year you give out a Heart of Gaming Award, which isn't necessarily a game. It could be recognizing a person or a concept or an idea, something important. And this year you gave it to Artist Alley. Artist Alley, which is a very cool space in another part of the convention. So why was that important to you to recognize the Artist Alley this year?
You're right. Heart of Gaming, we always look at something where either the community is very engaged, or be it social engagement, or be it it could also be a game which touches a specific trend which is important. This year, Artist Alley, it was a hard fight in the jury to find out which they would choose. At the end, it was Artist Alley. I think Artist Alley honors the engagement of these thousands or hundreds of thousands of people who love their characters, their brands, their games, and turn this into great pieces of artwork, be it paintings, be it figures, be it whatever their creativity tells them. And I think this is more for those who are behind it, the artists themselves.
Speaking of the awards, really the game that swept the awards was Resident Evil Requiem, and Capcom walked away with numerous awards. But then also there's a couple other games that I think kind of like stole the show this year. One of them would be Lego Batman. And then one of them would be Hollow Knight Silksong, which we finally got a release date for that. So it's just interesting. It's great that you got this spread. You got Resident Evil on the one hand, which is as big and AAA as a game can get, and then Lego, which is a little bit more, family friendly. And then you have a small game, an independent game like Hollow Knight Silksong. And there's room for everything here at Gamescom. So I'd love to hear your take on that.
I mean, this is Gamescom, right? I mean, is there any better example? Because we very often we talk only about the big booths and the big titles, etc. The important thing is that Gamescom is so much more. It's coming back to your three titles, it's family games, it's surprising titles. Okay, Silksong is not really a surprise. People are waiting since some time, but at the end it was a surprise that suddenly it's there, right? Suddenly we have a release date. And this combined with other areas like the indie area. Indie area for us has also grown massively this year. And I think that, look, I come, you can see it if you look at me, I belong to the more older generation.
Same.
So when I started playing, it was all about the first console, or it was about the first computer, and look at how diversive the gaming landscape has become. And yesterday I was in the indie area and was completely overwhelmed with these hundreds of games. And I mean, this all stands for the spirit of Gamescom, that everyone finds something. So I can only suggest everyone who is coming to Gamescom, have a plan. So think about what you want to do, because once you are here, you are completely overwhelmed, and then you perhaps miss a great game or a great situation.
So coming out of this Gamescom, after seeing all these games, what are you excited to play in the future?
Me personal? Okay, I don't know. It's no secret. So I'm not playing.
I'm sorry?
I'm not playing games. I played a lot when I was younger, but on the one hand side, I have a busy job. I have family. I have great hobbies, which are more around water and not so much about digital. So there is not so much time to play games. But I think that, and I'm just 1.5 years back in the gaming industry, but it feels like I can't hold it back much longer. So perhaps if you ask me next year, I might have the one or other title that I then tested myself.
Okay, I'll check in with you next year. In spite of all that, you put on an amazing show here. So congratulations on another successful Gamescom.
Thank you.
Okay, if you've never made it to Gamescom, and you love video games, the biggest video game convention in the world will return to Cologne in 2026. We've got lots more Gamescom Studio on IGN coming up in just a bit. Don't go anywhere.
LEGO Voyagers is a new two-player co-op adventure about two friends on a mission to rescue an abandoned spaceship and embark on a journey beyond their wildest dreams. Experience life as a Lego brick. Tumble, jump, snap together, and build your way through rich brick worlds in this poetic, non-verbal narrative set in beautiful brick-built environments supported by an atmospheric soundtrack. Invite a friend to your adventure for free with the Friends Pass. As long as one of you owns LEGO Voyagers, you can both experience the full co-op experience together. Let's take a look.
The Cinefix Top 100. A list so secretive even we don't know what movies are on it or where they rank.
What do you mean you don't know?
Each episode will reveal one of the movies.
Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed. That was good. I liked it.
Talk about why it belongs and finally find out where it ranks.
Are you not entertained?
Are any of the movies we've shown here even on the list? I have no idea, and it drives me crazy. Join us as we find out on Cinefix, IGN, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Why so serious?
Catch up on all your favorite shows with up-to-the-minute gaming and entertainment news with Geek Media Podcasts.
Welcome to a very special episode of IGN GameScoop.
GameScoop has you covered for all things gaming and the latest game releases. Tune into Podcast Beyond for the biggest PlayStation news.
Man, this is a cool looking trailer.
Everything Xbox on Podcasts Unlocked.
This is Steve Downs, the voice of Master Chief.
Catch up with your Super Nintendos on Nintendo Voice Chat.
Switch to pre-order Mania. It was chaotic last night.
And get all the latest console news and rumors with Next Gen Console Watch.
Now Xbox and Phil Spencer are even saying that a mid-gen refresh isn't even necessary.
The Cinefix Top 100 podcast picks a movie every week to celebrate and debate.
It's kind of every movie's grandpa.
Geek Media Podcasts, the best podcasts from around the world.
IGN Playlist is the best way to track your game collection. Now you can even import your entire Steam library to Playlist, making it easier than ever to review games, show off your collection to the world, and finally chip away at that massive backlog you keep meaning to get to. IGN Playlist, check it out.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and so much more.
It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.
All right, I'm here at the Gamescom 2025 Borderlands 4 booth, and there's a lot to see. Let's go explore. From what we've seen, Borderlands 4 is truly doubling down on what fans loved about the previous games, and from what we're seeing right here, fans are really doubling down on trying to get hands-on with it. There's even a VIP area with super high-end gaming PCs, and I believe the chairs have haptic feedback, but they wouldn't let me into the VIP area.
There's so much to discover here at Gamescom 2025, but my feet are starting to hurt. I wish I had a Digirunner vehicle like the ones you can use to explore Kairos in Borderlands 4. You can summon your personalized Digirunner almost anywhere, and it's got some powerful features like a front-mounted turret to make quick work of enemies, customizable handling via unlockable hover drives, plus eye-catching aesthetics with collectible cosmetics. If you ever get lost on your adventures, you can always count on your loyal drone Echo 4 to give you the best path across Kairos at the press of a button. Echo 4 also lets you upgrade your ammo capacity and change your Vault Hunter's appearance anywhere, anytime. As you travel around Kairos, keep an eye out for points of interest that you can claim for your Crimson Resistance, loosening the Timekeeper's grip on the planet. Once you've wiped out nearby enemies, you can reclaim places like safe houses to expand your fast travel options, or silos with decommissioned Order communications balloons that let you take to the sky, scope out your next target, and help you find those elusive Vault Key fragments. And as always, you won't have to venture into the unknown all by yourself. You can play solo or team up with friends to bring your own flavor of chaos to Kairos. Borderlands 4 supports up to 4-player co-op online on all platforms, or 2-player split-screen couch co-op on PS5 and Xbox Series consoles. If any of your friends are on different platforms, you can rest easy. Crossplay is supported across all platforms, including instant loot for each player, dynamic level scaling, individual difficulty settings, and the ability to fast travel directly to your co-op squad. You can keep the party together and unleash chaos throughout the whole campaign.
You can explore Kairos to your heart's content when Borderlands 4 comes to PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S on September 12th, and Nintendo Switch 2 on October 3rd.
What's up, everybody? Damon here on the show floor at Gamescom. I'm here with David Mervick, narrative director on Reanimal. So let's talk about Reanimal. This is a spiritual successor to Little Nightmares 1 and 2. Survival horror, some stealth, completely played single player or cooperatively. It definitely has some similarities to Little Nightmares, but how would you say it differs?
I mean, there's lots that's different, really. This is like a shared screen co-op game, which we've never made before.
Yeah.
We really felt that there needed to be this kind of game out on the world. So we did a lot of work on the directed shared camera. And of course, yeah, doing like single player, couch co-op and online co-op is a big challenge for us, but definitely one we thought was worth making. And also, these are older kids and they've gone through a lot harder stuff, so it's a darker tale, it's a lot more violent. So I use that word quite a lot whenever, you know, kind of making decisions as far as story and stuff like that goes.
Sure. So I think the premise is that a young brother and sister are traveling through a very hellish landscape trying to rescue their friends, right?
Yeah.
So as the narrative director, what was the story you wanted to tell here? And how did you want to tell it?
Really, it's a story about friendship and survival. Like what kids have to go through just to survive in this world, you know. Having grown up in a nice way, something just goes on with these kids that they need to confront, and the first thing they need to do is find each other and escape.
So they're trying to survive, they're solving some puzzles, but I believe there's also some room for exploration in the game. Is that right?
There is, yeah. You get around by boat and on foot, and we always like to leave little tidbits on the side for people, who want to find out a little bit more about the story, or just those that collect the hounds, people who want every mask, every collectible, and there'll be a few little treats for those that collect everything.
How would you compare the spookiness level to that of Little Nightmares? Is it about the same? Is it scarier?
No, well, we never really judged it against Little Nightmares. It's more about we always find the core of what we want to do. What's the core of the world? What's the core of the story? And that kind of tells what the game demands to be. With this, it was a darker tale, and we wanted these kids to have really gone through something that they need to kind of reconcile with. And so that just kind of makes it be a certain way, you know what I mean? And like I say, the term violence is always coming through, and same as being scared together. So that's why we kind of made these older kids so that they could face a little bit more.
Can you tell us what the word reanimal means?
No. No, it was something that we considered all sorts of names, and it's a difficult one. Naming a game can seem very easy, but it's got to capture the soul of our game. And we weren't happy until we found that. And then someone suggested it, and it just resonated with us, because obviously animals were in that game, very unpleasant animals.
Yeah, yes.
We're already in the game.
Yeah.
But there was other aspects. If you start picking apart that word, there was other things that kind of sang to us. And hopefully when people play the game and come out the other end in relatively one piece, they'll have their own ideas what they get from Reanimal.
Did you spend a lot of time coming up with really unpleasant animals?
I mean, we always do. The concept artists, are always kind of coming up with new stuff. And in the very beginning of this game, there was all sorts of stuff coming out of the woodwork. And we started to find that the stuff that featured animals really, really resonated with us, with the world we were getting interested in creating. And so they just kept coming back. And so they all just kind of coalesced around this core of this game. So yeah, it's been quite fun.
When you're making a horror experience, is it tricky to keep coming up with new ideas that'll keep the player engaged? You can't just do the same sort of scares over and over again, right?
No, it's always a ballet dance, really. You've got to. There's some of my favorite horror movies, like Alien and The Shining. They really, really take their time to build up an atmosphere and a sense of dread and trepidation over what's going to come, because you always know that moment of catharsis is coming, whether it's a jump scare or whatever it is. But you've got to earn that, and that all comes from the atmosphere and creating a certain mood that the players just lose themselves in, and then we shake them out of it.
Sure, yeah. Is there a definite time period in which the game takes place? Because what we've seen, some of the imagery looks like it could be World War I, or some of it looks like it's in the 80s, the 1980s.
Yeah, no, we don't really like to have it in a particular place in time. This is really, it's about kind of these expressions of violence, these things that you recognize yourself, even that we see these things and we resonate with them, and you've seen these, like you say, you've seen yourself, like World War I. But it's kind of we like to create worlds that are a bit out of time, but still feel recognizable as our own kind of world.
And then would you say you were doing the same thing with the sense of a scope and scale? Because sometimes it seems like the children are very tiny, and then it seems like they're regular human sized. It's just all dreamlike and hard to tell.
No, I wouldn't. In this way, it's different. It's very different from our past work, because it's not so much dream-like. This is a very hellish version of where they grow up.
That.
So for me, it's sort of the scale is a lot more realistic. There might be areas where you want the players to feel a little bit small, but it's not Borrowers-esque, you know what I mean?
Sure.
This isn't a fantastical world. This is something that's very non-fantastic in that sense,
Yeah.
You want to really feel the kind of the gritty edge, and with that comes a closer sense of reality.
The game looks very cool. I'm excited to play. When will we get to play Reanimal?
It's coming out Q1 2026, so not long at all.
Awesome. David, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Stay tuned. More to come from Gamescom here at IGN.
Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, sequel to the cult hit from 2004, is nearly upon us. is going to let us live out our vampire fantasies. And here on the stage, joining me is narrative director Ian Thomas and White Wolf brand manager Jason Cole. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks very much for having us, Jane. It's good to see you again.
And good to see you. Ian, the game it's nearly here. How are you feeling?
Genuinely feeling busy. I mean, we are constantly working. Everything has been locked, but that means that there are so many little things still to polish in terms of content and some little surprises we're putting in. But it is great because it's been such a long time for the team to see this thing actually out there in front of people and see the reactions. And I was saying to you only slightly earlier that I'm genuinely pleased and surprised by the reactions we're getting. It's it's lovely.
It almost doesn't feel real. I've been waiting for this game for quite a long time.
Oh, have you?
I have indeed.
I dare say some of us has been waiting a little longer, but we're just as pleased as you are that it's nearly here.
All
It's releasing October 21st. October, of course, the month of darkness, very appropriate for Vampire the Masquerade.
Right there in Spooktober, everybody. All right, now, for those who haven't been following, this is an action-forward, shall we say, RPG, set in Seattle, and you play a vampire, but it turns out not just one vampire, actually. So speak on that.
So I think it's been known for quite a while that you will be playing an elder vampire as the protagonist, and that vampire has a character, has a background, but it's not very well defined. You as a player get to choose a lot of the aspects of the character, and you get to choose very much how you role play and how you present that legend to the other kindred in Seattle. And that's Fire. That's our kind of main protagonist. However, again, it's been out there for quite a while. There is a voice in Fire's head, a character called Fabian, and it's become clear over the last few days that Fabian in your head, your guide to Seattle, a much younger vampire, only 100 years old. He's a Malkavian, he's a detective, and you actually get to play some of his story as well. And that's kind of interleaved with the action RPG. Fabian is not an action guy. He's an investigator. He's a curious gumshoe detective. That's what he thinks he is. Whether he is or not remains to be seen. So we mix those two stories together, and they all build to make a much bigger story, and it's been a juggling act of jigsaw pieces to make it all work.
Could you put a proportion on how much you're playing as Fabian and how much you're playing as Fire?
Not in hours very easily, but what I will say is most vampires do not dream. We have Fire's story over several nights in Seattle, and after each night, of course, she or he goes to a haven, lies down, and goes to sleep. And at that point, a dream happens, and Fabian's story kicks in, or Fabian's memory kicks in. So we've interleaved it pretty much equally in story between time with Fire, time seeing what happened to Fabian maybe 9 or 10 days ago, or maybe even older than that. So the two it's a balancing act, and the whole thing builds together, like I said, to make a much bigger story.
Okay, back to Fire. Now, in the world of darkness, elder vampires can do some pretty wild stuff. How does that translate to the disciplines, the abilities you're going to have?
Translates very well. Vampire the Masquerade, of course, has kindred clans. There are many of them. We all have our personal favorites, and each clan has an affinity for a certain set of disciplines and the powers inside those disciplines. The Vendru, my personal favorite, for example, are masters of dominate, power to control minds, possess others. Bruja, potence, celerity, very fast, very strong. In the game, the same is true. You will choose your clan, and you will have an affinity for a set of powers, and those discipline powers are available to you. Now, Fire is an elder kindred. Fire has been around for centuries. When Fire awakes, they're maybe not feeling at peak condition, but even a weak elder is still an elder vampire. They outclass a mortal considerably. So as part of Fire's journey, you'll choose Fire's clan, get your discipline powers, and then you can start to decide how to customize your approach to powers in the game by focusing on those powers you start with or learning others from other vampire clans that you meet as part of the play.
All right. I was curious. You've tagged the clans with, like, mastery ratings. Like,
yes.
What does that mean?
Effectively, from a gameplay point of view, we think that one it's going to be easier for maybe somebody new to the game to cope with. Because something like the Brouhaha, for example, it's a straightforward idea. You go and beat people until they fall over or you rip bits off. But with the approach to each clan's interpretations of fire is probably a starting point. Each clan choice and each initial set of powers, which, as Jason says, are way above mortal and considerably above most vampires you will meet, each of them has a different approach and a different tactical approach in terms of combat, because they're all about fire is all about destroying people, about effort, getting their way through them, but that doesn't necessarily mean they punch everybody to death. So if you go Brouhaha, it is, but if you go Ventrue, you puppet others to do that for you, you say, or if you do Banu Hakim, you can use stealth, or you use Tremere, you can use blood magic at distance. So the level and the gameplay of the maps are designed in such a way that you can play a very different approach to how fire deals with these enemies.
Yeah. Away from the messiness of combat, the world of darkness for vampires is all about like politics and intrigue and betrayal and treachery. Like, how does that manifest in the way someone's going to play your game?
So we have a political situation here. We're dropping an elder, a powerful playing piece, into the middle of what's already a boiling pot, to mix my metaphors. So how this manifests at a gameplay point of view is that, unlike something like the kind of Paragon Renegade approach of something like Mass Effect, every character, all of the major characters who fire talks to, have an opinion about fire. So if fire presents themselves as, I am the mighty elder and you will do my bidding, you will respect my authority, then some vampires will, oh yes, that's fine, but some will, it'll make them bristle, it'll make them treat them differently, and each of them has a different set of opinions. So you can roleplay fire as this incredibly strong vampire and hope that everybody will listen to what you say, but equally you could go to one and flatter them or persuade them, convince them, which means that you get into, it's a juggling act of politics, of balancing all these characters, and there are consequences for all of that, but it also means you end up in situations like, here is a room full of 3 or 4 vampires and they ask you publicly a question and you have to decide, well, I could choose that line and then that person or that person will really respect that, but those two are going to hate it. So there's this constant political game going on top of everything else.
I see.
There are, in fact, more specific kindred politics that fans of Vampire the Masquerade, the role-playing game, will be familiar with. There is and was a prince. There is a sheriff. There are powerful vampires with hidden agendas, and they all want things from fire. And part of Fire's journey along these nights in Seattle is to figure out the intricate structure of politics in the city. Can I trust any of these kindred? Can any of them trust me? And how do I decide?
Okay, asking for a friend. Certain vampires are known as like romantic sorts. Is there romance in your game? And what does it even mean for a 300-year-old vampire?
Ooh. That's a very interesting question.
Can kindred love? And the answer is yes, but
there are definitely characters who you can get quite involved with, and we spent some quality time in the sound booth with the actors, let's put it that way.
I see.
And it was an experience for all involved.
And that's all you have to say on that for now.
I think it would be much more fun for your audience and more amusing for us that they discover for themselves what happens when kindred decide to romance one another.
All right, there you have it. Those were all the gory details from Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Jason. And thank you for watching here on the Gamescom Studios stage. Stick around for much more from Gamescom 2025.
Hey you! Looking for a way to wear your fandom with pride? The IGN store is the ultimate destination for awesome merch and collectibles from the biggest games, movies, shows, and everything in between. Cruise the wasteland in style with a Vault Dweller hoodie and replica Pip-Boy. Kick back and relax to some of the best game soundtracks ever pressed on limited edition vinyl. Or level up your whole wardrobe with a massive selection of officially licensed apparel. From iconic properties like Star Wars and The Legend of Zelda to newer fan favorites like Atomfall and Expedition 33, the IGN store has you covered. You'll also find hats, jewelry, action figures, board games, model kits, art books, and even snacks. Whatever you're into, you're bound to find something. See for yourself and head to store.ign.com today.
Catch up on all your favorite shows with up-to-the-minute gaming and entertainment news with Geek Media Podcasts.
Welcome to a very special episode of IGN GameScoop.
GameScoop has you covered for all things gaming and the latest game releases. Tune in to Podcast Beyond for the biggest PlayStation news.
Man, this is a cool looking trailer.
Everything Xbox on Podcasts Unlocked.
This is Steve Downes, the voice of Master Chief.
Catch up with your Super Nintendos on Nintendo Voice Chat.
Switched to pre-order Mania. It was chaotic last night.
And get all the latest console news and rumors with Next Gen Console Watch.
Now Xbox and Phil Spencer are even saying that a mid-gen refresh isn't even necessary.
The Cinefix Top 100 podcast picks a movie every week to celebrate and debate.
It's kind of every movie's grandpa.
Geek Media Podcasts, the best podcasts from around the world.
The Cinefix Top 100. A list so secretive even we don't know what movies are on it or where they rank.
What do you mean you don't know?
Each episode will reveal one of the movies.
Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed. That was good. I liked it.
Talk about why it belongs and finally find out where it ranks.
Are you not entertained?
Are any of the movies we've shown here even on the list? I have no idea, and it drives me crazy. Join us as we find out on Cinefix, IGN, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Why so serious?
What's up, everybody? This is Gamescom Studio on IGN. Coming up very soon, we've got High on Life 2, which has talking guns, Super Meat Boy 3D, which has running and jumping meat, and Sonic Racing Crossworlds, which has talking animals in go-karts. But right now, it's time to boldly go out to the show floor for a look at Star Trek Infection VR. Engage!
One of the most exciting announcements at this year's opening night live was Valor Mortis, a first-person Souls-like game from One More Level. And I'm here to talk to the game's director, Radoslav, all about the game. Now, what is a first-person Souls-like?
Well, so it's basically our new approach to this genre because, you know, we are creators of Ghost Runner. So this DNA is also visible here. You have, on the one hand, you have gameplay mechanics that are kind of familiar for the Souls-like genre, like stamina-based combat system, like checkpoint system, and of course interconnected levels. There are some Metroidvania elements in our games. You are unlocking new abilities. You will be revisiting some locations and unlocking some new paths, new secrets. And on top of that, you have this DNA of Ghost Runner, the pure action, excitement, and we think that we are pushing this genre forward a little bit because what kills genre is the stagnation, and we would like to push it forward a little bit.
Yes, there are far too many third-person Souls-likes, and seeing the Souls-like formula injected into a first-person game is very refreshing, but I do wonder how stuff like the dodging mechanics work. For instance, in Dark Souls, you have rolls with iframes and stuff. How does dodging work in first person? I presume there's no rolls, because that would get very confusing.
That's true, that's true. There are no rolls, but we have iframes for the fans of Dark Souls and other games, other Souls-likes. I mean, it's the mechanic that is very crucial. I mean, when you are dodging, we are indicating it to the players with this kind of on-screen effect and a sound cue. So you know when these iframes are clicking exactly. So you can feel it basically without watching it, because you know this is also main difference. You are the hero. You are not observing your character fighting. You are basically feeling that the tension, the immersion is much higher in the first person. You feel every blow from the enemy. When you dodge the bullet by the inches, it's also something very special for the players, and we think it's something refreshing, breath of fresh air for the Souls-likes.
Yeah, it definitely does. And there is a fresh mechanic really where you are balancing, it looks like, pistol play with sword play. How does this mechanic work? The kind of parrying system, is it, or a finisher move?
Oh, it's quite complex. I mean, we have this dual wielding mechanic. So on one hand, you always are carrying your saber, and on your left hand, you are carrying your pistol or your basically hand, but with a superpower. I mean, supernatural power that we call transmutations. You can cast a flame basically from your hand. And combination of it during the combat is crucial. With your handgun, you can aim for the weak points on the enemies to deal massive damage. And some enemies got them on different spots. and also combining with parry system, with your saber. This is the key to success in our combat.
Are there different kinds of classes in this game, or do you just play as this one class with the saber and the pistol and the flames?
Basically, you play as a soldier. This is like soldier class, but we are not a regular soldier. I mean, there is, in our world of the game, there is this corruption that is consuming the world. We call it neptoglobin. It's this living essence that is corrupting everything it touches, and also it has some influence on us. We are not turned into the mutant or abomination, but we are gathering some supernatural powers, and thanks to that, we are very capable soldier.
Now, I was wondering about this neptoglobin stuff. Like, is this what you use to level up? Because in traditional Souls-like games, you have maybe souls or runes, and then you would rest at a fire or a site of grace. How does leveling up work in this game?
Well, it's kind of similar. I mean, in our game, it's more like the catalyst of this neptoglobin. Like, it looks like a shard, something like that, that you are gathering, and you can spend them on the lanterns. Lanterns are our checkpoints, so it's kind of regular, typical for the genre leveling system. But of course, there is a little bit more. We have a skill tree where you have play, so you can choose which kind of playstyle you prefer to enhance. And if you are a master of the saber, you can, add some points to stamina, probably, to be able to dodge very fast. So yeah, so it's it depends. It's not like we are forcing the player to play a certain play style, but yeah, so player can choose whether they like.
Sure. Now, there is a lot of body horror going on in the trailer, a lot of gore. I'm guessing this game isn't for the faint of heart. There is going to be, it's going to be a mature rated game. Even the trailer itself started off with someone getting their head blown off. Like, this is not shying away from violence or gore at all, is it?
No, it's quite gory, to be honest. Yeah, there is a lot of blood. I mean, the theme of war and the horrors of war that is quite strong in our game, it's not a beautiful theme, right? There is this cruelty on that, there is this nightmare, there is this burden of being a witness of war events, and it doesn't look pretty. I mean, it looks pretty on the way, but on the other way,
So are these mutations kind of like a metaphor about war, or?
It is a little bit metaphoric. I mean, you see this physical horror, like these abominations, but on the other hand, the theme of war and being this small cog in the war machinery, this is also the other thing, this psychological aspect of war, that there are no true winners in war. That's our message. I mean, everyone loses something. Either it's their lives or maybe their humanity.
Right. Now, you did mention a little bit about a Metroidvania-style level design earlier on. In a lot of Souls-likes, they're not true Metroidvanias. You're more wandering around unlocking shortcuts. I presume that's true in this game as well, but as you said, Metroidvania, is there more to explore, more to find, secret areas, things like this?
Exactly. There is more than that. There is more than shortcuts. It's not visible in the demo level, because demo level is more like a tutorial, but on the later stages of the game, for example, when you will be exploring, let's call it location number 5, you will get the ability that will allow you to open some paths, or location number 2, for example. So you can travel between the lanterns that are placed in the game, and sometimes you will have quests connected to one of them, but sometimes you will understand that now I obtained this kind of ability and I'm open to open something or run through something.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, people here at Gamescom are queuing up to play Valar Mortis, but people at home are also going to be able to play it in a playtest soon. I think you have to sign up on your website, right?
That's correct. There is a website, so please sign up. The playtest is gonna start at the end of September, as far as I remember.
Okay. Yeah. What platforms will the playtest be available on?
So it will be PC Steam for now.
PC Steam for now?
The playtest.
Yes.
But the full game will be on PC, PS5 and Xbox.
Awesome. And can you give us a rough release date?
2026 is the release date.
2026. Okay, for all info about Valar Mortis, stay tuned to IGN.
IGN Plus is where your adventure begins.
What are you selling?
Plus is the place to get unlimited access to all the tools you need to beat your games.
Here's what you need to know for bringing down Gloomspawn.
Plus, awesome exclusive discounts on IGN Store.
Maybe this would tease open your money pouch.
Plus, ad-free browsing on IGN.com. Plus, unlimited game help tools like premium interactive maps with your own custom map markers, filters, marker notes, and more.
This will come in handy.
Plus, access to sweepstakes, giveaways, and free game keys.
Wow!
Exactly. Want more? Head to IGN.com/plus and start your adventure today.
Hey you! Looking for a way to wear your fandom with pride? The IGN store is the ultimate destination for awesome merch and collectibles from the biggest games, movies, shows, and everything in between. Cruise the wasteland in style with a Vault Dweller hoodie and replica Pip-Boy. Kick back and relax to some of the best game soundtracks ever pressed on limited edition vinyl. Or level up your whole wardrobe with a massive selection of officially licensed apparel. From iconic properties like Star Wars and The Legend of Zelda to newer fan favorites like Atomfall and Expedition 33, the IGN store has you covered. Whatever you're into, you're bound to find something. See for yourself and head to store.ign.com today.
We're here at Gamescom Studio. I'm with Mikey and Maddie from Squanch Games. You just showed off High on Life 2 gameplay. People are excited about this game. This looks wild. The first game was pretty bonkers. I'm going to cut right to the chase. You dropped a 42-minute gameplay clip that culminates with the character that you're trying to assassinate, or a bounty hunter, whatever.
This guy goes inside your suit, hacks into the mainframe, and reboots it, and suddenly you're not playing High on Life 2, you are playing the unlicensed Nintendo Entertainment System game, Bible Adventures, which is in fact a real video game, and you put that real video game in your video game. How did you get the rights to that? Can you play the whole thing? And what? Yeah, what?
Like, why? Yes, yeah, so there's a lot of questions there, but number one, we have this awesome biz dev guy named Ben Moore. Benny, he's been a good friend of mine forever. All great connections, and when we were talking about we want to do different in this game, we had movies in the first game. This game I wanted to do fully emulated games, and so I asked Benny, like, what can you do for us? He gave me a big list, and my number one thing that I wanted was Bible Adventures, and I thought there's absolutely no way he's going to find it, and he managed to find it, and we actually officially licensed Bible Adventures to be in the game. So I was extremely excited, and yes, you can play the whole thing, and it's not the only emulated game that's in there. There's plenty.
Can you say how many there are?
I'd rather not, because we may put more, and I don't want to underpromise. But it's a few.
More than one.
More than one. More than five.
Nice. Well, yeah, the first game had the entire movie of Taming the T-Rex and a few other movies, which was like, again, impressive. Are there also movies in there?
There are new movies as well.
Okay, and should I assume that they're of the same caliber as Taming the T-Rex?
You mean excellent?
Yes. There's some surprising, like, B+ tier movies that we got too.
Yeah.
So
I just still can't get past the fact that the only legal way to play Bible Adventures in 2025 is in your video
game. Which is the coolest thing in the world to me.
That is bonkers.
Like a dream come true.
You got it officially licensed to play on Xbox and PC and PS5. It wasn't even officially licensed for Nintendo. That is the funniest thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is not about Bible Adventures. It's about High on Life 2.
Oh, shoot. I thought it was.
Yeah. Hey, Bible Adventures is High on Life 2.
Yeah.
It's the dream of rebooting Bible Adventures for me.
That's the next Squanch game.
Exactly.
I was excited to ask you guys, you put a skateboard in the game. Like, the big new traversal mode is just to zip around a whole lot. People have compared it to Sunset Overdrive. I guess, what were kind of some of the influences of the many skating games out there, and how does that change your approach to gameplay?
So in terms of inspiration, it kind of came as like a joke in the first game. One of our concept artists drew like a weird centipede guy that you rode around on, and you know, our whole studio is like, wouldn't it be funny if, and then it ends up becoming a real thing. And so we were like, well, what if we just did a skateboard? Why not? And so we thought of it at first as like just a temporary power-up. But as we played, we were like, this is kind of the best part of the game, and we just kept integrating it more and more until it became a core piece of the game. And put a lot of work into making it feel fluid, and I think it feels really good now.
Yeah, it's really changed. Once we understood that we wanted to do it, it's like it has to change the level design, it has to change the layout, it has to change the environment art, and like so our level designers and like Colby Wall, our lead artist, like really work together to make kits that like
we have these 3 hubs in the game that are a lot bigger than Blim City in the first game, and you can really just kind of like zone out and skate because they're huge skate parks in the game. We haven't shown that stuff yet, but we're like super psyched to.
Yeah, there's more to the skating than we've shown, and it's really cool.
I like that you have a brand new first-person shooter, and we're talking about Bible adventures and skateboarding. Sure, why not? Let's talk about the Gatlians. You've got a brand new one voiced by Ralph Ineson, who people may know as Galactus.
Yes.
You've also got the bad guy you're chasing down is voiced by Richard Kind.
Yes.
Who's Bing Bong.
Yes.
I guess tell me about some of the other voices we're going to hear, and the new Gatlians too. I assume there are a few of those.
Yeah, so we've got all of the old cast coming back. We've got Betsy Sidaro, we've got JB Smoove, we've got Tim Robinson coming back, some new people coming on board. We've got Gabourey Sidibe is one of the guns. We've got
Ken Marino.
Ken Marino's one of the
nice.
guns. Oh, he's doing such a good job. It's really awesome.
As like a old school State fan, I'm just like in heaven that him and Thomas Lennon are like in the game. You know?
Yeah, we've got Thomas Lennon there. He's not one of the guns.
No,
but he's a few characters in there. He crushes it. It's awesome.
I imagine it's probably easier to get people to sign on when you have a proof of concept that is the first game.
Exactly.
As opposed to previously, we're like, well, I want you to play a gun, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
How much of the comedy is scripted versus how much comes out through improv, and do different actors approach it completely differently in the booth?
100%.
Yeah, we kind of feel out in the booth like how an actor is more comfortable. If they're more comfortable doing improv, we try to say, okay, well, let's read it the way it's written. Now, how would you say this? And then we usually take several alt lines away from each record, and then we'll either apply them to the game or pick our favorites, but we never record just one line for just one thing, so that if you die a few times when you play, you're not hearing the exact same thing over and over. So we have way too many lines in the game. You'll never find all of them. It's crazy.
Yeah, luckily the comedy is in the DNA of the studio, right? So everybody we bring in is already pretty talented at that stuff. And I feel like there was a review of the first game that was like, it feels like it's AI because there's so many lines, but literally they just recorded that much.
Yeah, it's just sheer brute force and passion.
So let's say that, High on Life is the next big, cross-media franchise. You've already got comics. JB Smoove is producing a TV show. If there's a High on Life 3, who is your dream person you want to get in there? Anybody who's alive. Anybody.
I really want Danny DeVito. We tried to get Danny DeVito for the first game. And we didn't really, at that time, we didn't really have the cachet to sort of sway him. But I'm hoping after this game we can try again and get him in there. I have the perfect design for a Danny DeVito gun in my head that I want to see so bad.
I believe the response we got was, we would take this to him, but his agent doesn't even know if he'll understand what it is, and we'll probably just say no.
Yeah.
So we're going to try really hard on the next
Danny
one.
DeVito, reach out.
Yeah,
reach out.
we're right here.
We're ready for
Richard
you.
Kind, what was it? Richard Kind, you saw him say, I'll do anything, and he reached out, now he's in the game.
Yeah,
so.
Richard Kind said he'll do anything, and we put it to the test, and he was honest. He would do anything, so we got him in.
Yeah.
I love that so
Brilliant
much.
Performance, seriously, makes me laugh so much every time.
So I did mention it, JB Smoove producing an animated series. Any updates on that?
Yeah, we're still in the pitching phase. We've been really busy with the game, and we're working really closely with JB. So I'm working with JB and then his writing partner Miles. We've been working on putting together a pitch, and we've got all the components. We just really want to make it really slick and make sure that it's getting shown in the right light. So it's coming. It's coming soon. Yeah.
Has there been any talk of a movie?
I would love to. Yes. And honestly, I want to make a live action movie, one of those corny ass high Seth Rogen movies. I think would be so funny with practical effects. I would love that.
We can pretty much get all the props from Mikey's house because he's got puppets
so
and
much
toys
stuff,
and everything.
That rules. I'm down. I'm super into it. You guys have managed to make 2.5 games since 2022?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you avoid feature creep or just getting stuck in development hell? How have you stayed so mobile? What's the secret sauce there?
It's a good question. We've grown a lot. We were 54 when we shipped High on Life. We're 87 now. A lot of that is keeping a really amazing team and having like crossover between the games. On the second game, like a lot of the team, they know what the studio is, they know what the game is, and like they want to just make the craziest stuff possible, right? So it's a lot of just like, wouldn't it be cool if, and from a producer, is like, don't talk about scope for the first like year and a half, and then be like, all right, but like, let's see what the cream rose to the top, and we'll just like take that, you know?
Yeah, scope is like a curse word at our studio. For me especially, it's if scope is a factor, you're not making the best design decisions. A lot of us come from AAA. We've shipped a lot of games. I've been in the industry 25 years. I've shipped a lot of games. So if I'm asking for something, I usually know it's possible. And so trying to convey that tends to be the challenge, but it's never that things are over scoped, really. It's more just like, how do I present it to the team in a way where they can get behind it and put work into it? Because the real secret is just the passion of the team. Like, they want to make the game, they want to make the fun stuff, and a lot of times I'll say something and I'm like, this actually might be too scopey, and then they blow it away with that. They're like, give me a second, and then they come back with something way better than I asked for.
A lot of us come from DIY communities, right? And it's like, you like DIY or die. And Mikey also, like, I should know, like, as from a production standpoint, like, had his own company too, right? So like, he knows what it's like we all know what it's like to be an independent company, and we care a lot about, you know, doing this for a long time, right? So we have to be responsible with what we do, and like, yeah, we can be thrifty and still make cool stuff. If anything, sometimes the jank is like even funnier, you know?
It's really cool to see. I mean, you get these, you know, these rules like kill your darlings, but also say yes and.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to game development, it's like this immensely intricate process. Do you have a giant bucket or like a bulletin board somewhere of ideas that didn't quite make it, but you want to sit on them?
Yes. So we also do something where we don't ever cut anything. We just save it. We say we're just pushing this till later, and we don't ever officially cut. And then when we start a new project or we start something else, we go, what about this idea we had? This was really cool. And so some of the ideas in this game were ideas we just didn't get to in the first game that we were really passionate about. And typically it starts with that idea and becomes something totally different, but we're saving everything because we have a lot of really fun people at the studio.
And this is like maybe inside baseball, but like from a production standpoint, every producer will probably think I'm crazy, but like also there are different times at development that different people are busy, right? And there's stuff that's risky and there's stuff that's not. So if we hold on to it, there may be a time that's something we really care about we can do later, maybe a little riskier, but like also like, if it's a great joke, we have to do it, you know?
I don't want to ask you to spoil stuff, but are there any features you want to specifically call out in High on Life 2 aside from Bible adventures and skateboarding? And
one thing I want to say, like, as wild as the demo is, this is pretty early in the game, and the game gets way weirder. Like, as you play, it gets way weirder. There's a lot of unexpected stuff in there that I think people are going to be very surprised about. In terms of features, I feel like everything is a feature. It's always just like, what about this idea? And then the team's like, oh no, we have to redo a whole new thing, right? And in the end, it pays off. Like, we don't have to do weird stuff like a UI fight, but then when we put the effort in, it's totally worth it, right? So the studio has learned over the years that the effort pays off.
We really upped the enemy variety too. You know, that was a big thing we didn't have a ton of time for on the first game. So we have a lot of new factions that all kind of have different behaviors. We have obviously a lot more guns that we showed in the announced trailer. The combinatorics of that are going to be really interesting. And then we've really, I feel like the team has really leveled up the like puzzles and sort of side content, which is like such a great opportunity for the humor in our games. So there's going to be a lot of that kind of peppered throughout the hubs.
Yeah.
In terms of, I guess, playtime, is it about comparable size to the first game?
Honestly, at this point, we know it's a lot longer than the first game, but until we're like pencils down, we won't really know exactly how long it is because our team is very much ESN, like you're saying, right? And it's, people are like, well, what if I just add this here? What if I add this here? And we have the most patient QA team and the most patient production team. They give us advice, but they let us do it. And so in the end, it could be a billion hours of stuff. Most of the time, I don't even know all the stuff that gets put in, and I play the game constantly and always surprises.
That's awesome. It's really great to see you guys doing so well. I'm dying to play this, and I get to play it on February 13th.
Yes.
And it's coming to PC, Xbox Series, and PS5 same day?
That's right.
And Game Pass?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Sick. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for hanging out. There's tons more Gamescom Studio coming up. Stick around.
What's up, everybody? Damon here at Gamescom. We're at the Super Meat Boy 3D booth Super Meat Boy is going 3D. I reviewed the original game for IGN a million years ago. I loved it. I'm here with Dominic Glassman, who is the art director on the game. You may recognize his voice as well from the trailer also. So.
Yeah, I did that, yeah.
Okay, so Super Meat Boy 3D, if you're a fan of the original game, if you know the original game, is this going to feel familiar just in three-dimensional and stuff?
Definitely, yeah. We really tried to get the feeling right? We worked together with Tommy, who programmed the original game, because it was really important to us to get the Meat Boy feeling in there, right? Even if it's 3D, so basically the character will feel kind of similar, right? And many people already told us that it works, so that's really great to hear that they really feel like it's a Meat Boy game, right? And that's great because we want to have the spirit of Meat Boy in there. Okay.
The original game had a lot of levels, 2D games, a lot of levels. Are they going to find a lot of levels here too? They're sort of on the shorter side?
There won't be as much as in Meat Boy 1 because, I mean, it's 3D, right?
Right.
Creating levels is a lot of work.
Yeah.
But we are close, I think, so it's got a lot of content. So around 50 levels per world, and Dark World, of course. So it's a lot. I think if you really want to complete everything, you will take some time, yeah.
There are boss fights in there too, right?
Yeah, there are boss fights also, yeah.
Tell us about the fixed camera.
Yeah.
What was the thing you might have? Was just one less thing for the player to think about?
Exactly. I mean, it was the result of a lot of experimentation because we started with the prototype and started different setups, different camera setups, different movement options. And in the end, we thought, okay, it would be nice if the player doesn't also have to control the camera, right? Because it's pretty difficult.
Yeah.
The game is fast, the game is difficult, and if you also have to control the camera, it gets a bit tricky probably, yeah.
Do you think players are going to die a lot in this game?
Yeah, definitely. They will die a lot.
3D
We also die a lot. I mean, we play the game a lot, and I think the last Dark World level we created, we died about 100 times or something.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it will be pretty difficult in the end, yeah.
3D platformers can feel pretty different from 2D platformers. They can be slower, a little bit less precise, but the original game, was a very fast-paced, precise game. So how have you sort of tried to adjust the controls for that?
I mean, we had to reduce the speed a bit, right? Because Super Meat Boy is really fast, right?
Right.
It's also why the camera is spanned out that much, right? So it's fast, but we had to make it a bit slower to still work in a way, right? Because we want to keep the precision, and for that we had to change the tempo a bit. But it's still a lot faster than the usual 3D platformer, yeah.
Have you added any new movement options or new abilities for Meat Boy?
Yeah, I mean, we have an air dash now, right?
Okay.
It was in Super Meat Boy Forever, but not in the first game. And it really helps to kind of help you navigate the 3D space, right? Because you have a horizontal option to reach walls and stuff like that, yeah.
Would you ever consider a VR version of Super Meat Boy 3D? Because there are some good platformers that have worked in VR, like Astrobot.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. We are a bit afraid of motion sickness, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, of course, first-person mode would be pretty interesting. But yeah, generally, I think it could work, but we currently aren't working on something like that. I mean, it could be something that we look into after release, right?
Yeah. I noticed from what we've seen so far, Meat Boy's face gets more and more disfigured the more you die. Are there any other more like fun details like that I've missed from the trailer so far?
Yeah, we have a lot of death animations. That was important to us because usually we do weird stuff with our studio, so we thought it might be interesting to add a lot different variations of how you can die and a bit more gore, basically.
Cool. You reached out to your audience last month to ask which characters they'd like to see added to the game. Are there any cameos you can confirm or tease?
I don't want to spoil anything. I think there will be some returns that people will be happy to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't spoil any characters. So, but there will be some.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I love the original. I'm excited for it. When are we going to get to play Super Meat Boy 3D?
It will release next year, so we don't have a date yet, but early next year.
Early next year, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Dominic, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Stay tuned for more right here on IGN from Gamescom.
The average Cinefix movie list features nearly 100 different films and approximately 25 minutes worth of wall-to-wall deep dive analysis. To simulate that pace for this 30-second ad, we're featuring 26 different films, and before you say it, no, that math does not check out. We're not math people, we're movie people. We can't even count down from 10 without ending up at, 96. Subscribe to IGN Movies and TV for more Cinefix movie lists. Bad at math, great at movies.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN strategy guides and interactive maps are here to help.
One step at a time.
IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and so much more.
See? It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.
IGN Plus is where your adventure begins.
What are you selling?
Plus is the place to get unlimited access to all the tools you need to beat your games.
Here's what you need to know for bringing down Gloomspawn.
Plus, awesome exclusive discounts on IGN Store.
Maybe this would tease open your money pouch.
Plus, ad-free browsing on IGN.com. Plus, unlimited game help tools like premium interactive maps with your own custom map markers, filters, marker notes, and more.
This will come in handy.
Plus, access to sweepstakes, giveaways, and free game keys.
Wow! Exactly.
Want more? Head to IGN.com/plus and start your adventure today.
You're watching Gamescom Studio on IGN. This September, Sonic the Hedgehog is returning to the world of racing with Sonic Racing Crossworlds, and he's bringing some very cool friends with him. Here to break it down for us is Takashi Izuka-san and Yuji Yoshii-san, and the translator. How are you guys doing?
Good.
So, this feels like the biggest roster of playable characters we've ever seen in a Sonic game. Are we officially able to say how big the roster will be at launch?
今回ソニックゲームの中で登場キャラクター数が最大のものだと思いますけれども、ローンチ時の数についてすでに何かご発表いただけますか？
はい、ローンチ時にはまずソニック系のキャラクターが総勢23名遊べるようになっています。それと、毎月アップデートされるゲストキャラクターっていうのがいるんですけども、それで1人初音ミクがプレイヤブルキャラクターとして追加されます。
So from the Sonic universe, we will have 23 characters you can play, and then every month we will have an update with guest characters. And first, it will be Hatsune Miku as the first guest character, which was already announced.
How many months do we have planned for guest characters joining us?
ゲストキャラクターは何ヶ月ぐらい続いて？
はい、無料のゲストキャラクターっていうのがセガ関係のフランチャイズの中から毎月1体キャラクターと車が無料でアップデートで追加されていく仕様になってます。
So for the free version, we will have every month from Sega franchise cars and characters updated. Every month, one car, one character.
How many months is it? 6 months, 12 months?
そうですね。今の計画上は1年間は続けようかなと思ってますけども、それ以降は売れ行き次第という感じですね。
So for now, we have planned to have it updated 1 year long.
Excellent.
And above from that, we will see how it will.
Sounds great.
Sold.
Yoshii-san, what was the first conversation like when discussing the possibility of Pac-Man joining the roster of Sonic Racing Crossworlds?
パックマンが、ソニックレーシングクロスワールドに登場するという話、最初のきっかけ作りというのは何だったってどういう対話で進んだのでしょうか？
もともと2023年、の末頃かな、セガさんの方から、このタイトルで、パックマンを使用したいという旨の、打診が、ありまして、弊社の、そのパックマンのブランドチームからそういう話を聞きまして、第一印象は非常にポジティブな印象を持ってました。
So first we were approached by Sega. I think it was end of 2023, and they approached us if we couldn't include Pac-Man into the Sonic Racing Crossworlds, and the brand team informed me, and I thought it's a big honor, and the first impression was really great.
That's amazing. Izuka-san, Sonic's no stranger to racing games, and he has a great track record with them. What lessons have been learned and are you guys applying to Sonic Racing Crossworlds?
ソニックはレーシングゲームにおなじみのキャラクターだと思いますけれども、過去にもいくつかありましたけれども、その過去のレーシングゲームから得た教訓というのはどういうところですか？
そうですね。レーシングシリーズはそのソニックの中でも非常に人気のあるゲームジャンルでして、 過去にはセガオールスターズレーシングシリーズ、トランスフォームドでチームソニックレーシング、それとあとソニックライダーズっていうシリーズもありまして、それぞれ人気があったんですけども、今回のこのソニックレーシングクロスワールドでは過去に人気のあった要素をこう全部取り込もうという気持ちでやってまして、オールスターレーシングのそのゲストキャラクターだったり、あとはトランスフォームドで陸海空それぞれ変形して進むことができたり、そういう要素をこうたくさん盛り込んだ集大成として今回、リリースしてました。
So yeah, racing series are very popular among the Sonic games, and we had in the past, as you said, All-Stars Transformed and Sonic racing teams, and each of them had components which were very popular. For the All-Stars, for example, we had the guest characters. For Transformed, we had that you could race through the air, but on land, and also dive into water. And so we tried to implement all those most popular aspects of the past games, and I think we succeeded in doing so. So this is the ultimate Sonic racing game.
Excellent. Yoshii-san, what were some of the qualities of Pac-Man that your team was in charge of that were necessary for its inclusion in Sonic Racing Crossworlds?
今回パックマンの要素でソニックレーシングクロスウォールズに絶対取り入れたい要素というのはどういうところでしたか？
そうですね、最初にこうお話をいただいたときにパックマンってこうピザって呼んでるんですけど、こういう丸い、欠けた形の、パックマンを、想像される方が多いと思うんですけど、今回それだけではなくてパックマンワールドの、モダンなパックマンをプレイヤブルキャラクターとして登場させたいっていうリクエストをいただいて、それが結構印象的で、かつメイズもあり、パックマンワールドのパックビレッジもありというところで、非常にこれはすごいことだなというふうに思いました。はい。
So I think when you hear of Pac-Man, you usually imagine this pizza sort of shape, but this time we had the request also to have a modern Pac-Man, so a modern Pac-Man world included. So that was one of the challenges. But when we saw the final outcome, also with having those Pac-Man typical mazes and the Pac-Man village inside, we were very excited how this was actually implemented.
Excellent. What character has been your favorite to see added to the roster, Iizuka-san?
飯塚さん、どのキャラクターが今ロスター登場キャラクター一覧に追加されて一番楽しいですか？
そうですね、ソニックキャラクターは本当に23名いるんで、もうほとんどの人気のあるソニックキャラクターは登場してるんですけども、それ以外に今回のパックマンも非常にユニークなキャラクターですし、スポンジボブやマインクラフトといったこのソニックと通常関わらないようなキャラクターたちがこのレースゲームの中でこう一緒に競争するっていうのは本当にどれも楽しいと思います。
Oh, that's a tricky question. I think from the Sonic universe we have 23 characters. I think all the popular characters are already in there, and of course it's really fun to see characters like Pac-Man or from SpongeBob or Minecraft, so characters you would usually not see interacting with Sonic characters. I think it's all very fun to watch.
As a follow-up, is there any characters that the fans have been asking for?
フォローアップとしてファンからよく要望、リクエストが出るキャラクターってありますか？
そうですね、やっぱりセガオールスターズレーシングっていうのが過去にあるので、その時にはセガのレジェンダリーキャラクターたちがこういろいろ登場してきたので、今回のゲームでもこれは出ないのかあれは出ないのかっていうのはたくさん質問はいただくんですけども、これから1年にわたって続々とゲストキャラクター登場していきますので、今後の続報にご期待くださいという感じです。
So in the past we had Sega All-Star Racing where all the legendary characters from the Sega universe appeared. So we get to ask a lot of questions from our fans concerning will this character be coming, will this character be added, but what I can say so far is that we keep on updating for the following year, so just be sure to not miss what will come next.
Excellent. Now, Sonic and excellent music go together, like Sonic and Chili Dogs. Is there, what kind of music can we expect? Are we going to see some fan favorites returning in Sonic Racing Crossworlds?
あと音楽についてもお聞きしたいんですけども、チリドッグとか楽曲素晴らしいものがあると思いますけども、今後はどういう音楽が期待できますか？
今回はまずレーシングゲームであるっていうことと、レーシングゲームだとやっぱりテンポよく胸が湧き立つような、そういうテンポのいい曲作りをしているのと同時に、それぞれの世界観、いろんな過去作のソニックシリーズから登場してくるステージもありますので、そういうのは過去作の音楽をさらにレース用にアレンジして、非常にレースゲームらしい、今回のパックマンのステージもそのパックマンの音楽をベースとしたレースゲームに合った曲作りを、心がけてます。
Yeah, so this is first and foremost a racing game, so we always want like an up-tempo and very fun to go with and play with music. But on the other hand, there are also different world views included in the legacy games and also in collaboration games like Pac-Man. So we try to implement those and arrange them as racing games. And also this time with the collaboration with Pac-Man, we included the Pac-Man original music but arranged it to be an up-tempo racing game music suitable one.
Excellent. Well, that's all the time we've got. Thank you so much for joining us. Sonic Racing Crossworlds comes to PC and consoles on September 25th, and I cannot wait for it. We've got tons more Gamescom Studio and IGN coming up, so don't go anywhere.
The Cinefix Top 100. A list so secretive even we don't know what movies are on it or where they rank.
What do you mean you don't know?
Each episode will reveal one of the movies.
Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed. That was good. I liked it.
Talk about why it belongs and finally find out where it ranks.
Are you not entertained?
Are any of the movies we've shown here even on the list? I have no idea, and it drives me crazy. Join us as we find out on Cinefix, IGN, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Why so serious?
Catch up on all your favorite shows with up-to-the-minute gaming and entertainment news with Geek Media Podcasts.
Welcome to a very special episode of IGN GameScoop.
GameScoop has you covered for all things gaming and the latest game releases. Tune into Podcast Beyond for the biggest PlayStation news.
Man, this is a cool looking trailer.
Everything Xbox on Podcasts Unlocked.
This is Steve Downs, the voice of Master Chief.
Catch up with your Super Nintendos on Nintendo Voice Chat.
Switch to pre-order Mania. It was chaotic last night.
And get all the latest console news and rumors with Next Gen Console Watch.
Now Xbox and Phil Spencer are even saying that a mid-gen refresh isn't even necessary.
The Cinefix Top 100 podcast picks a movie every week to celebrate and debate.
It's kind of every movie's grandpa.
Geek Media Podcasts. The best podcasts from around the world.
IGN Playlist is the best way to track your game collection. Now you can even import your entire Steam library to Playlist, making it easier than ever to review games, show off your collection of the world, and finally chip away at that massive backlog you keep meaning to get to. IGN Playlist, check it out.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and so much more.
It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.
Hello again, you're watching Gamescom Studio right here on IGN. In a little bit, we're going to be checking out Zero Parades, the new RPG from the studio that brought us Disco Elysium. But right now, it is time to check out Cinder City, which is Nexon's upcoming MMO tactical shooter, formerly known as Project LOL. All this and more is coming up on Gamescom Studio right here on IGN. And if you're curious what that banging noise has been, over there at the THQ Nordic booth, they've got people doing one of those carnival strength testers where you hit the thing with the hammer and make it go up and bang the bell. That's all in honor of Gothic remakes. So if you want to test your strength, come on down to Hall 7.
Formerly known as Project LLL, Cinder City is looking to bring an MMO tactical shooter to gamers everywhere next year. And joining us in the studio to tell us more about the game is project lead Jae-hyun Bae and also project manager and translator Ga Hae Shin. Welcome to the stage. Thank you for coming.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we've seen some intriguing gameplay just recently from Cinder City. What elements of modern shooters inspired you to bring those elements into a massively multiplayer online game? And how is Cinder City going to innovate on those elements?
최근에 많은 게임 플레이를 이제 접했는데 신더시티에 대한 이런 MMO 택티컬 슈터를 만들게 된 뭔가 모던 슈터에 대해서 뭔가 영감을 받은 부분 어떤 거에 이제 영향을 받아서 이런 게임을 컨셉을 잡게 되었는지가 궁금합니다.
그냥 쉽게 하면 그냥 지금까지 했던 게임들에서 뭐 이렇게 계산하거나 이렇게 열심히 뭐 조사해서 참고를 한 적은 없지만 대부분의 슈터에서 영향을 받았죠. 예. 그러니까 예를 들어 게임 내 건물 내에 나오는 이제 실내 인도에 나오는 좀비나 이런 크리처들은 물론 이제 거기에 나온 영화나 아니면 뭐 수많은 호러 컨셉의 FPS 영향을 받았고 그 다음에 밖에서 싸우는 전투 이런 쪽은 아웃도어에서 하는 거죠. 그러니까 도시 내니까 아마 비슷한 게임들이 머리에 떠올릴 거예요. 뭐 콜 오브 듀티의 특정 캠페인이라든지 아니면 디비전이라든지. 예. 그래서 특히 기본적으로는 이제 FPS 성격이 있지만 TPS이기 때문에 수많은 이제 TPS한테 영향을 받았습니다. 예.
I think I took a lot of inspirations from a lot of different media, video games. It's a shooter, and in what's happening indoors, the zombies, the horror elements were inspired by some great movies, for instance, and also the outdoor battles. They were inspired by the Call of Duty campaigns or the Divisions. I took a lot of inspirations from great examples, and it's a TPS, so a lot of TPS third-person shooters as well.
근데 이제 슈팅은 이 게임에 구성하는 이제 큰 몇 가지 두세 가지 요소 중에 하나일 뿐이고요. 저는 이제 슈팅 게임을 물론 좋아하고 했긴 했지만 그래서 슈팅 게임을 기본으로 해서 그 사람들이 거대한 도시에서 특히 서울이죠. 여기서 협력해서 생존하고 싸우는 그 다음에 적들하고 NPC들이죠. 몹들하고 그 싸워서 이기고 생존하는 걸 더 중심으로 놓고 저는 게임 만들고 있습니다.
So it's a shooter, but the shooting experience is just one part of the game. While what we want to build ultimately is an environment where players will gather in this gigantic city and fight alongside each other and try to survive and grow together. And the shooting element is the basis on that. Okay. In the massively multiplayer environment that is Cinder City, how many players will you have playing together at once? MMO 환경에서 최대 몇 명까지 같이 플레이할 수 있는지.
지금 그 플레이어들이 지금 플레이 가는 공간은 지금 한 7에서 8km 또는 10km 가까운 지금 서울의 도시 일부를 그대로 똑같은 비율대로 구현을 했고요. 거기에 그 최대 뭐 스트레스 테스트를 한 적은 없지만 지금 뭐 개발팀 전원과 뭐 기타 테스트함까지 다 포함하면 이제 수백 명이 이렇게 300에서 500명 정도까지는 원활하게 플레이하는 걸 테스트를 했고요. 그래서 물론 이제 NPC는 그 플레이어 숫자보다 훨씬 많죠. 5배에서 한 10배 정도. 그래서 사실 구현되고 서비스 된 적이 없는 규모의 사실은 매시브한 환경의 게임을 지금 만들고 있습니다.
The multiplayer space is now 7 to 8 square kilometers wide and can have around 300 to 500 players that can play in the same space simultaneously. And for NPCs, the enemies, there will be 5 to 10 times more enemies than the players populating the area. So I believe this is a quite unprecedented size as an MMO shooter.
Wow, yeah, that is massively multiplayer, for sure, for sure. How are players going to pay to play Cinder City? Is it free to play? Is it a season pass? Is it, pay once and play the game?
이제 BM에 대해서 뭐 무료 게임인지 시즌 패스제일지 아니면 패키지로 한번 구매를 하면 플레이할 수 있는 형태일지 궁금합니다.
저는 이제 MMO 게임들 여러 개 이제 만들고 경험해 봤기 때문에 이제 런칭 이후에 컨텐츠를 어떻게 준비하고 업데이트하는 데 익숙하거든요. 그래서 사실 지금 시점에서는 이제 어느 뭐 패키지를 팔든 이제 시즌제를 하든 이게 대응 가능하게 이제 개발을 하고 있는데요.
네.
그러니까 뭐 확실한 건 루틴하게 이제 뭐 먼슬리든 아니면 반년에 아니면 뭐 시즌이면 3개월이나 4개월 단위로 주기적으로 컨텐츠를 업데이트할 준비를 하고 있어요. 뭐 캐릭터라든지 아니면 캐릭터마다 따라오는 캠페인 스토리일 수도 있고 뭐 맵의 확장일 수도 있고 아니면 새로운 보스나 뭐 건물이나 지하가 추가된다든지 그런 걸 고려하고 있습니다.
We're not exactly settled on the business model yet, whether it'll be the free to play or the package. But what's for sure is that we'll have a seasonal updates on a regular basis, monthly or either a few months of cadence. Have character updates, the map expansions and whatnot. So there will definitely be some seasonal updates there.
Okay, I see. You've got, in fact, just there we spotted a mech. I think we're going to see some more mechs right now. Very exciting. Tell us about the mechs in Cinder City. Like, what variety of mechs? How many will there be in your game?
방금 또 말하자면 메카도 정말 멋있어 보이는데 뭐 어떤 종류의 얼마나 많은 메카가 게임에서 등장할지 궁금합니다.
예, 탈 것들을 처음에 고려를 했어요. 그러니까 그 도시고 굉장히 월드가 크잖아요. 그래서 거기에 플레이어들이 뭐 끄나 쓰는 것도 재밌긴 하지만 다양한 탈 것도 고려했고 그래서 뭐 헬기도 있고 오토바이도 있고 뭐 근데 이제 그 중에 고려한 게 이제 얘죠. 그러니까 이족 보행 로봇을 만들어서 플레이어가 탑승하기를 원했어요. 그러니까 왜냐하면 훨씬 사람보다 큰 적들이 나오기 때문에 그래서 지금 다양한 타입들 준비하고 있어요. 지금 보고 있는 이것도 있고 그리고 좀 더 작지만 빠른 타입이라든지 더 육중하고 다리가 많은 다리가 6개쯤 달려있는 이런 여러 타입들을 지금 만들고 있습니다.
Yeah, definitely. We are considering incorporating a lot of vehicles, not just the mechs, but also a lot of different ones that help you roam around this big city to give you the freedom of movement. And for the mechs, there will be a lot of them in all different sizes, from the one in the smaller ones than the ones you see in the clips, some smaller but agile, and the ones much bigger and even have more legs, etc. A lot of varieties.
Okay, I think we saw a little bit of the horror elements you referred to just there, like the kind of like zombies or mutants. What can you tell us about the apocalypse that is taking place in your city of Seoul?
보면 이제 호러 요소들, 좀비도 나오고 뭐 이러는 것 같은데 이런 배경, 신더시티의 이런 배경에 대해서 좀만 설명을 해주실 수 있을까요? 포스트 아포칼립스 배경에 대해서.
그래서 이제 다른 차원에서 온 거대한 몬스터가 이제랑 전투를 하다가 걔가 지금 폭발을 했고 그러면서 도시도 같이 파괴가 됐거든. 그 뒤로 이제 의문의 바이러스가 퍼지면서 사람들이 하나씩 이제 크리처로 변하는 이제 멸망한 세계가 컨셉이고요. 그래서 스토리적으로는 그렇고요. 게임 플레이적으로는 저는 아웃도어와 인도어에서 좀 다른 경험을 하기를 바랬어요. 그러니까 아웃도어에는 장거리 이제 슈팅 같은 이제 이런 사격 전투를 하면 인도어에 들어오면 빠르고 그 다음에 잘 죽지 않고 그 다음에 플레이어한테 붙는 그러니까 압박감과 공포감을 주는 컨셉을 원했고요. 그래서 나온 게 지금의 이제 크리처들입니다. 그래서 네.
So the storyline is, the background story is that the planet Earth was invaded by an outer spatial being, and in the middle of the battle, there was a giant explosion which devastated the whole city of Seoul, and then because of the aftermath that left mysterious viruses that infected the people on the planet Earth, that made them turn into those creatures that you see, like zombie creatures. And so the reason why we incorporated such zombie elements, the creature elements, is to give the different experiences in the outdoors and indoors. So in the outdoors, you'll get rather a typical shooter experiences, long-range battles, while in the indoors, those zombies, the creatures, are more like a melee, for the melee combat, they are slow, but they're strong. And you need to really strategize in many different environments. That was our aim.
I see. So like two different player
Yes.
experiences. Okay. What are the incentives for fighting the enemies versus incentives for fighting other players? How do they vary?
이제 플레이어들과를 상대로 싸우는 것도 있을 거고 적을 상대로 싸우는 거 있을 텐데 각각 어떤 뭐랄까요 경험적인 리워드가 있을까요?
그 게임에 그러니까 슈팅 게임이니까 결국은 PVP, 그러니까 사람들끼리 싸우는 모드를 이제 당연히 원할 거고 아마 뭐 만족을 시켜줘야 될 것 같은데요. 지금 당장은 근데 PV 컨텐츠를 지금 충분히 쌓고 만드는 쪽에 지금 훨씬 집중을 하고 있고요. 이게 어느 정도 진행이 나고 나면 이제 PVP를 좀 고려를 할 것 같습니다.
Yes, our heavy focus right now in development is PvE elements. Yeah, so I guess, but as shooter fans, they'll naturally expect a shooter game to have PvP, but that's part of our plan. But right now we are focusing heavily on the PvE content.
I see. Okay, so watch this space. Excellent. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much. Cinder City is making its way to consoles and PC in 2026. Right now, there's more to come from Gamescom 2025 right here on IGN.
Hey you! Looking for a way to wear your fandom with pride? The IGN store is the ultimate destination for awesome merch and collectibles from the biggest games, movies, shows, and everything in between. Cruise the wasteland in style with a Vault Dweller hoodie and replica Pip-Boy. Kick back and relax to some of the best game soundtracks ever pressed on limited edition vinyl. Or level up your whole wardrobe with a massive selection of officially licensed apparel. From iconic properties like Star Wars and The Legend of Zelda to newer fan favorites like Atomfall and Expedition 33, the IGN store has you covered. You'll also find hats, jewelry, action figures, board games, model kits, art books, and even snacks. Whatever you're into, you're bound to find something. See for yourself and head to store.ign.com today.
Catch up on all your favorite shows with up-to-the-minute gaming and entertainment news with Geek Media Podcasts.
Welcome to a very special episode of IGN GameScoop.
GameScoop has you covered for all things gaming and the latest game releases. Tune in to Podcast Beyond for the biggest PlayStation news.
Man, this is a cool looking trailer.
Everything Xbox on Podcasts Unlocked.
This is Steve Downes, the voice of Master Chief.
Catch up with your Super Nintendos on Nintendo Voice Chat.
Switched to pre-order Mania. It was chaotic last night.
And get all the latest console news and rumors with Next Gen Console Watch.
Now Xbox and Phil Spencer are even saying that a mid-gen refresh isn't even necessary.
The Cinefix Top 100 podcast picks a movie every week to celebrate and debate.
It's kind of every movie's grandpa.
Geek Media Podcasts, the best podcasts from around the world.
The Cinefix Top 100. A list so secretive even we don't know what movies are on it or where they rank.
What do you mean you don't know?
Each episode will reveal one of the movies.
Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed. That was good. I liked it.
Talk about why it belongs and finally find out where it ranks.
Are you not entertained?
Are any of the movies we've shown here even on the list? I have no idea, and it drives me crazy. Join us as we find out on Cinefix, IGN, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Why so serious?
I'm here at the Borderlands 4 booth at Gamescom 2025. What is that? One of the best parts of going to a convention is cool free swag, and Gearbox did not disappoint. They got these awesome Ripper masks. Unfortunately, they are limited edition, limited to only a few tens of thousands, which doesn't sound like that limited, but bear in mind, 300,000 people come to Gamescom every year.
This booth is full of things to check out, just like Kairos is full of warring factions, deadly fauna, and subjugated inhabitants under the rule of the Timekeeper. Kairos is split into 4 distinct and connected regions for you to explore. There's the rolling hills of the Fade Fields, the frigid peaks of Terminus Range, the shattered lands of Carcadia Burn, and the Timekeeper's impenetrable fortress city, Dominion. The Timekeeper has been in charge for thousands of years, controlling the inhabitants of the world with cybernetic implants called bolts and an army of soldiers known as the Order. Timekeeper kept the planet hidden for a long time, but then, 6 years before the events of Borderlands 4, a rogue moon suddenly teleported into Kairos' orbit, shattering the planet's protective veil and sending the entire world into a state of chaos. Now, the citizens of Kairos are rising up, with some of them even ripping their bolts out of their skulls. That's where our 4 Vault Hunters come in, acting as a spark to a revolution that's about to explode. You'll meet unique factions to recruit to your cause, including new characters and fan-favorite characters like Claptrap, Moxie, and Zane. And trust me, you're gonna need all the help you can get to take down the Timekeeper.
You can explore Kairos and fight for Kairos freedom when Borderlands 4 hits PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S on September 12th, and Nintendo Switch 2 on October 3rd, 2025.
Erdrick's legacy extends past the borders of Alefgard, or even Torland for that matter, and has captivated the hearts of minds and players to this very day. Joining me to discuss the Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remake is producer Masaki Hayasaka and translator Gavin Profley. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So, one, it's not often I get to talk about Dragon Quest with people, especially people who have experience with it, so I'm very excited.
いや今日結構ワクワクしてるんですよね。なかなかドラクエ知ってる人と話す機会もなくて、ましてや実際に作ってる人たちと話できる機会が本当に光栄なことに思ってます。
僕もこういうスタジオなかなか慣れてないんですごい今ドキドキして楽しいです。
No, I'm having a lot of fun, but I'm a little bit nervous because I'm not quite used to these kinds of studios.
That's all right. So, when preparing to remake the original Dragon Quest and Dragon Quest 2, did you go back to revisit any versions of the previous games? And if so, when playing through those games, was there something that you thought you needed to improve upon for this remake?
いや全然ご自由にください。ゆっくりしてください。ですね、今回のドラゴンクエスト1、2のリメイクをに携わるにあたって、まずリサーチとしてやっぱり今までのバージョンをいろいろプレイの振り返ったりしたんじゃないかなと思うんですが、その中でプレイしてみてやっぱこれは変えなきゃいけないなと思ったり、これはやっぱそのままじゃないといけないなと思ったりしたところ、どういうところだったんでしょうか。
そうですね、やっぱ30年以上前のゲームなので、やっぱ遊び心地もそうですし、やっぱ難易度もそうですし、本当に変えなきゃいけないところやっぱたくさんあるなとは思いました。ただその中でもやっぱこのワンツーらしさみたいな守らなきゃいけないところっても当然あるので、そこの主選択っていうのを原作を遊びながらどこにしようかなみたいなのを考えてから企画に臨んだ望んだっていうのは、はい、まさにおっしゃる通りですね。
That's exactly as you said. That we did play through the older versions of the games and try and work out what bits we needed to change, what bits we wanted to keep the same, and how to get that balance right while playing through them. There were obviously a number of things we did feel that we needed to change. For example, the balancing of the battles, so the difficulty level and things like that. But there was, at the same time, we also looked at it from the perspective of how do we keep the essence of these games and keep them as they should be, and what we need to protect as well as what we need to change. So we looked at it from that perspective.
Well, speaking of the balance, Dragon Quest 1 notably features exclusively one-on-one battles between Erdrick and the monsters, and in some of the footage that we're seeing here, we see Erdrick taking on a number of enemies. So how are you balancing out? Is he getting any allies, temporary guests, or are abilities being adapted so that you can deal damage to numerous enemies?
そうですね、バトルの調整と言いますと、まさに今画面に出てるドラゴンクエスト1なんですけれども、これはロット本人がモンスターと一人で戦ってるわけなんですよ。1対複数のバトルになるので、それを成り立たせるためにはやっぱり一人が使う時の技の効果の調整だったり、それとも臨時的にゲストキャラが仲間が入ったり出たりするような感じにしたり、どのように挑んでますでしょうか。
そうですね、一番はやっぱその技の調整ですよね。今回って1の原作になかった特技の追加とかがあと新規の呪文の追加とかがあるので、それプラスその敵が複数になるというところでまずはバランスを取りつつ、あとやっぱ原作も1対1のところでやっぱ結構難しかったので、そもそもがその呪文とか特技とかなしにして、そもそもやっぱバランス調整しなきゃいけないっていうところで、割とフルスクラッチに近い形でやっていったっていうのはまずありますかね。
Yeah, so we did do a number of different adjustments and adaptations to make it work better for just a single character fighting. Obviously, we added in new skills, we added in new spells that he can use, and obviously change the balance of the enemies, obviously make sure that worked better in a one versus multiple situation. But we kind of had to go back to the drawing board and start from scratch again, really balance everything out from scratch. Before we even take into account what the skills do, what the spells do, just does this work before even it was a one-on-one situation, and trying to make that one versus multiples, you kind of have to look at it from a different perspective. So we really went back to the drawing board with that.
That's fascinating, and I would assume that you would also reevaluate the length of the original Dragon Quest, because Dragon Quest 1 is notably much shorter than the rest of the series. So is this version of the game longer?
そうですね、作り直すにあたってやっぱりもう一つ振り返ってちょっと調整したくなったのはそのゲームボリュームのことなんじゃないかなと思います。そのドラゴンクエスト1ってその後のナンバリングタイトルと比べて明らかにより短いゲームではあるので、その辺もやっぱりもうちょっとボリュームを付け足そうっていう考えにはなってるのでしょうか。
もちろんやっぱ今回3を先に に出てその後に1、2って出るのでやっぱ3の続編として出す以上この3よりもボリュームが劣ってはさすがにいけないだろうというのはもちろんあるのでなんで今回1と2合わせたゲームボリュームっていうのは昨年出した3リメイクよりも増えてるのでそこはなんかご安心いただければなと思います。
No, that's exactly right. We did think about that in quite deeply because obviously we're releasing it this time 1 and 2 as a sequel to 3. So we really felt we couldn't have a smaller game, less volume of content than we had with 3 in 1 and 2, which is a big part of the reason why we decided to release 1 and 2 as a set together. So if you add together the gameplay, the playtime, the volume of content for those 2 games, it's actually a lot more than you got in 3. So it kind of stepped up in that way too.
Wonderful to hear. Now, we've been talking a lot about Dragon Quest 1, but let's talk a little bit about 2. I noticed in some of the newer footage, we see what looks like the Princess of Canuck, who's now been added to the party. How does that affect the story? And if I may, is there a possibility that her inclusion in the party suggests the possibility of potentially reevaluating what Yuji Horii had originally planned for the alternate ending of the game?
そうですね。まあ今まではどっちかというと1の話ばっかりだったので、2についてちょっと触れさせていただきたいと思いますが、2の一番大きく変わっているところとしてはやっぱり新規の仲間キャラが増えてるんじゃないですか。サンバトルの娘っていうのがパーティーに新しく加わるということで、パーティー人数が3人から4人に増えたということなんですけれども、そういうことはやっぱり堀井さんが最初に想定していた特にこのもう一つのエンディングがあったんじゃないですか。それはもう一人のパーティーキャラ仲間キャラが増えるということでそのエンディングの意味合いもだいぶ変わってくるんじゃないかなと思うんですけど、それは多分この場では言っちゃいけないことではあるかもしれないんですけれども、それにとどまらず全体的にもう一人のキャラを増やすということはどういう意味合いを持っているのでしょうか。
そうですね。やっぱり一番はこのタイトルを出す、プロデューサー観点でこのタイトルを出す時の目玉を用意しなきゃいけないっていうのがあったので、で3の時はそれが新職業の魔物使いっていうのを用意して、で今回はやっぱそれとまた別に何か用意しなきゃいけないってなった時にこの同じロトの血筋を持ったキャラクターっていうのが実は原作の中にも存在してて、でファンからもやっぱあいつっていつか仲間になるんじゃないかっていうのが結構ずっと噂されてたキャラクターでもあったので、それを堀井さんにご提案してどうでしょうって言ったらいいねってなったので、もうそれでよし行くぞってなった感じですね。
Yeah, so in terms of why we decided to include the Princess of Canuck in there, obviously every time we do remakes, remasters of Dragon Quest games, we like to add in a big new thing that's a wow factor, that's a draw for the game. So things like new jobs, for example, we did that in Dragon Quest 3 with the addition of the Monster Wrangler job there, the Beastmaster type character in there. And for this game, we thought that it'd be a really good idea to add in a new allied character, a new party character. Obviously, the other party characters are all descendants of the bloodline of Erdrick. So we obviously wanted someone who fitted in with that. And there was actually a character in the original game who fitted that, which was the Princess of Canuck. There's been a lot of speculation among fans as well that maybe she's going to join the party, maybe she'll be a playable character at some time in the future. So we suggested that to Mr. Horii, and he said, yeah, that's great, let's go straight with that. So yeah, it went very smoothly after that.
And what type of role does she play in combat?
彼女バトルにおいてはどのような役割になるのでしょうか。
結構トリッキーな役割ですね。もうすでに戦士タイプのローレシアの王子がいて、で魔法使いタイプのムーンブルクの王女がいて、で魔法剣士タイプのサムラトレの王子がいるので、そこのキャラクターとは被らないようなちょっとトリッキーな、ドラクエ3でいうと盗賊とか舞踏家とか、あとは踊り、遊び人なんかを足したちょっとトリッキーなキャラクターっていう感じです。
Yeah, so she's a bit of a trickster style character really, because we already kind of had the orthodox roles with obviously you got the Prince of Middenhall, you got the Princess of Moonbrook, you got the Prince of Canuck himself, and they're like a warrior and a mage. And a bit of a halfway between the two character. So she kind of performs a more of a trickster kind of function, like you'd see maybe in Dragon Quest 3 with the jobs like Gadabout, for example, or the dancer, or maybe more like the bandit, the thief kind of characters. So she performs that kind of like more tricky, more kind of like technical role.
Wonderful. Now, fans want to know, will Tombola be in Dragon Quest 2?
ファンが一番知りたいかもしれないんですけれど、福引きがドラゴンクエスト2に登場するのでしょうか。
福引きはあります。やっぱり原作にあった大事な遊び要素であるので、それを外したりしていることはないですし、ちゃんとパワーアップさせているので、そこはもうちょっとまだ秘密なんですけど、ぜひ楽しみにしておいてください。
The Tombola is definitely coming back. We really couldn't not have that in the game at all. It's something the fans really want to see. It was part of the original, so we really couldn't get rid of it. Don't worry, rest assured, it's back. It's been powered up. It's made even more exciting than before. It's a little bit of a secret. We can't tell you everything about it now, but rest assured, it is there.
Speaking of secrets, Is there any additional content? You were very generous with Dragon Quest III with optional dungeons, bosses. What can people expect for these two remakes?
言っちゃいけない秘密の要素について今触れてくださったのであえてお聞きしますが、3ではですねものすごいたくさんの隠し要素とか遊び要素が詰め込まれていたんですが、今回もやっぱり同じような秘密要素とか新しいものは用意されてますでしょうか。
もちろん、はい、もちろん用意してます。でやっぱやっぱまだ言えないんですけども、これまでずっと堀井さんと宣伝展開の中で伝えてきていたやっぱ312を通した新しい展開、もうこれをやっぱ早く皆さんに本当にお話を楽しんでほしいですし、やっぱこれを届けるためにこの312をなんか作ったと言っても過言ではないような、本当ドラクエファンだったら誰でもびっくりしてもらえるんじゃないかなっていうぐらいのサプライズをちゃんと用意してますので、そこは本当になんか楽しみにしておいてほしいですね。はい。
No, don't worry. There are lots of secrets and cool little things we've included in there. Basically, together with Mr. Hori, working together with the team, we really wanted to create these kinds of new surprises and wow moments, exciting things for fans to enjoy. And I think we really have done a good job with that. It maybe not be going too far to say that we actually wanted to do these 3 remakes just so we could deliver those kinds of surprises to the Dragon Quest fans. And we're pretty sure that any Dragon Quest fan out there will be really satisfied and really surprised by these new developments we put in. So you can definitely look forward to them. I can't tell you what they are now.
I can't wait. Now, my final question, Hayasaka-san, the HD 2D art style is visually distinct, and you've now had quite a bit of experience working in that art style. Now, you had previously stated that you kind of sourced or referenced Final Fantasy VI as your inspiration for how you kind of came about with the style, and your teams evolved around that. So now that you've had some experience, how would you go about approaching something like a Final Fantasy VI or a Dragon Quest 4 or 5 for that matter, now that you have experience?
そうですね。最後の質問にはなりますが、ちょっとその HD2D という開発スタイルについてお聞きしたいんですが、以前どっかのインタビューでは確かにHD2D を作るにあたってファイナルファンタジー6のスタイルがかなりインスピレーションになっているというようなことをおっしゃってたかと思うんですけれども、それはだいぶ最初の HD2D 作品が出てから時間が経っていて、何タイトルか経ていろいろ経験積んでいらっしゃるかと思うんですけれども、それがやっぱもうある程度までこの HD2D の作り方に慣れてきた今、例えばファイナルファンタジー6だとかそういうゲームをもう一度 HD2D でリメイクしようと思ってたらどのようにアプローチするかと思いますでしょうか。
そうですね。やっぱでも一番考えるのはやっぱそもそも FF6 からインスピレーションを得て生まれたグラフィックスタイルなので、じゃあその生まれたやつからなんかこの逆輸入じゃないですけど、今度もう一回それを HD2D でやったらどうなるんだろうっていうのも考えますし、やっぱおっしゃる通り HD2D っても結構作品が出ていて、かなりこのなんでしょう、成熟している段階に来てるんじゃないかなって個人的には思ってるので、またさらに別のビジュアルスタイルなんかを模索して、それこそ FF6 みたいなHD2D の生みの源泉となったものをまた別のグラフィックスタイルでやるっていうのも面白いんじゃないかななんていうのはなんかちょっと妄想したりはしますかね。はい。
No, so I'm just thinking about it in my head about how we might like to approach that, and I think you're very much right there. That was the original inspiration, so it might be fun. It might be interesting to go back to kind of do a reverse import kind of thing on that, and take that style that was basically originated from that and put that into Final Fantasy VI. But at the same time, I also think it might be fun to try and come up with a completely new style for that now. Obviously, take what we've learned from the HD2D and development on the HD2D games and maybe find a new direction for that and put that on top there. So just a couple of ideas I'm throwing around, but I think it could be quite fun to try and find a new direction as well.
Well, that's wonderful to hear regardless. But thank you folks for joining us. I really appreciate it.
いや、それを聞きできて本当に面白いですね。もう今日お時間いただきありがとうございます。とても楽しい話でした。ありがとうございます。Thank you very much.
So the Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remake arrive October 30th on PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Switch 2, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. But there's more Gamescom Studio coming up.
Welcome to the biggest gaming playground in the world, where 500,000 people come together to play, connect, and celebrate across Cologne. 1,500 exhibitors, the biggest names in the gaming industry, bringing countless games for you to explore and dominate. And we're just getting started. Ready to jump into some gameplay? Then get set for Gamescom Opening Night Live, featuring the major announcements and brand new game trailers. Less watching, more playing? Then stop by Gamescom's unique indie area, where you're in control of the most creative and unique projects from beloved indie studios. And if that's not enough, don't miss Gamescom Awesome Indies, our show featuring the hottest new titles from the scene. Or become the hero yourself and step into the Gamescom cosplay contest, bringing cosplayers and fans together from around the globe for an unforgettable community experience. Join live shows, esports tournaments, and creator events at the Gamescom Event Arena. Can't make it to Gamescom in person? Visit our website gamescom.global and experience all program highlights via our content hub, Gamescom Now. While you're there, make your voice count in the Gamescom Award. Vote for the most exciting games, groundbreaking products, and jaw-dropping innovations presented here at Gamescom. Do you remember our incredible friends and gaming experts from IGN? Of course, they're back, hosting full days of Gamescom studio live streams on Twitch and YouTube. Oh, hey, AP, crashing the party. You'll find our all-time favorite RPG Gamescom epics on our website. Join the community and grab your loot. Now moving on to something that is very important to us. Our initiative, Gamescom Cares. We want to shine a light on social and environmental responsibility. In order to reduce emissions, Gamescom runs on 100% renewable energy. Just as important, accessibility is key for us. Gamescom should be a safe, inclusive space for everyone. Speaking of inclusive spaces, the Gamescom City Festival is taking over the city with live music, awesome shows, and all kinds of fun. Did we mention? Entry to the City Festival is free for everyone. Welcome to the playground. Welcome to Gamescom.
This is Gamescom Studio. One of the biggest surprises to come out of Opening Night Live was the official reveal of Zero Parades, formerly Project C4, which is the next game from Zaum, the studio behind Disco Elysium. Here to tell me about it, VO director and writer Jim Ashlevi. Welcome. Thanks.
Hello.
Hi. So,
pleasure to be here.
This is a game, a lot of buzz around this. I think immediately people look at it and it resembles Disco quite a bit. We got a trailer that has very stylish aesthetics and some snippets of gameplay. What about this is going to be kind of out the gate familiar? What's going to feel, what's going to sound, what's going to look like Disco, and what is immediately going to make people go, oh, this is a different project entirely?
Well, I'll start from the second part of your question. I think what stands out as something completely different is the fact that it's a new universe. It's a completely new IP, it's a completely new world, a completely new cast of characters. So there are no lore-related links between the world of Elysium and the world of Zero Parade. However, what makes it feel familiar to people who were super into Disco Elysium is the fact that a lot of the core sensibilities behind the project, the sensibilities shared by members of the team largely remain the same, because a lot of the people that made Disco Elysium are now here to make Zero Parades as well. So there's still the same people with the same fascinations and obsessions, the same sources of inspiration, and that is blended together with all the new voices in the studio that come with their own perspectives and their own obsessions and desires and fears and whatever.
Nice. So yeah, let's back this up. This is an espionage game. What does that mean?
It's an espionage CRPG. It means that you're there on a mission and you're a spy. The protagonist is a spy called Herschel, and Herschel is a deeply flawed individual. She doesn't really know why she's back in theater, because her previous mission ended so disastrously. It ended with most of the people she cared about just dying or getting abducted, or or they just disappeared from Herschel's life because they now hate her. And now she needs to simultaneously solve this extremely complicated global political game of chess, and then also find a way back to the people that do not want to see her ever again, or can't see her ever again because they're dead, but she needs to find a way back regardless. And also, we're deeply fascinated with the espionage genre. We look toward authors like John le Carré, the author of books such as Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy and Smiley's People, but we also needed to put a Zaum twist on the entire thing, and splice it with elements of science fiction. You know, I'm looking towards authors like Philip K. Dick and Ursula K. Le Guin and Stanislav Lem. And this is where the bizarre and psychedelic elements of the game come into play. So it's a mix or a blend of many different things. We've also looked towards Korean cinema. We're particularly inspired by Park Chan-wook's work, director of Old Boy and Decision to Leave. So a lot of different sources of inspiration come together to form this highly uncomfortable and silly and weird espionage game. It's not a glamorous experience. I think when people think about espionage or espionage as it's been represented in pop culture, they usually think about characters like James Bond and Jason Bourne and you know, the Mission Impossible films.
Yeah, cool spies.
And we were interested in exploring the seedier and more mundane aspects of being a spy. What does it actually feel like to be in the shoes of someone who has an enormous responsibility placed on her shoulders, but also doesn't know what it is that she's expected to do in theater, and also can't go it alone because she's not an action hero. She's a normal, flawed human being with an enormous burden of guilt and remorse and pain and unresolved trauma, but then also she needs to find a way back to the people who kind of caused that and whom she kind of killed spiritually. So there, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Let's talk about how that kind of comes into play mechanically, because one of the impressive things about Disco was how it was like compelling, and there was basically no combat. You kind of just talked your way through the whole thing, and a lot of it was also just kind of in your own head.
Sure.
I guess, is there combat? Will there be sort of violent altercations? Is that part of the spy thing, or is this more of just kind of like a emphasis on intelligence, I guess?
There will be a lot of violence, but it's mainly psychological and emotional, I would say. We're not making an action game. Again, espionage fiction, you know, does come with its own tropes and traditions, I guess. And eventually there needs to be like a high-octane motorcycle chase through the streets of a small town in Italy, or there's like an airplane chasing another airplane and things explode and, you know, people jump out of planes and still chase each other while, you know, opening their parachutes and things like that. None of that stuff is happening in Zero Parades because we're still, you know, we're still just geeks and writers and you know, people who grew up playing tabletop games and like narrative experiences. And I would say that is the thing we do at our studio. We tell stories. So it's a deeply immersive experience where you do get to both navigate this extremely complicated web of relationships, as well as go deeper into your own psyche and deal with your own paranoia and your own inner voices that kind of, you know, might be steering you toward the right direction and might also be steering you toward certain death.
Sure. Okay, so in Disco there was the thought cabinet, which was kind of an extension of Harry, the protagonist. But in this case, you are a protagonist who's kind of trying to be somebody else, right? Like you're kind of putting a forward-facing thing. And there's sort of a cognitive dissonance that comes with that. And you've kind of gamified that, right?
Right, yeah. And we do have like an updated version of the thought cabinet in our game, and we call it conditioning, because since we have shifted genres a little bit, I mean, detective stories and espionage stories are kind of related, but they're not the same thing. And so when we looked towards espionage fiction and its tropes and traditions, it instantly became clear that, well, one, spies need to be conditioned in a certain way. They need to go through a certain kind of training in order to even be able to, you know, like drop their actual persona and become someone else, and then the next day again drop that persona and become another person once again. And so the conditioning system is our new game mechanic that sort of gamifies the process of either reinforcing certain aspects of your psyche or your emotional landscape or punishing those aspects. And then depending on the decision you make, the game kind of reacts to that, and the options that open up to you or go away depend on those moments in the conditioning.
Can you give me an example?
Scenes. Well, here's an example. Let's say you've decided that you're a non-smoker now. I'm not sure if you are a smoker. Just this is just
Go on.
An example. Let's say you were a smoker and you've now decided, I don't want to smoke anymore. I'm no longer a smoker. Okay. Next day, and you're a spy, by the way. Next day, you attend this fancy dinner with a lot of delegates coming together and discussing, top secret stuff. And some of the key members of the delegation go out to the balcony to have a smoke. And you're like, okay, so I decided to be a non-smoker yesterday. I quit smoking yesterday. And now these delegates, the very people I need to go and talk to, are having a smoke on the balcony. I think I probably should go and have a smoke with them and have a chat and see if I can kind of siphon information out of them by just being casual and chill and social. And so what do? Do you go out there and have a smoke and have that conversation, but then betray your decision from the previous day, or do you stay inside and find another way to talk to these people? This is kind of a silly, mundane example, but what I mean by that is the point of the conditioning system is to keep asking you whether you are the person you've decided to be, or you're the person you actually are, judging by your actual actions in life and in theater as a spy.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I mean, kind of. It's definitely this is cerebral concepts here. Like the smoking thing that you pull up as an example, that's often the example used when people just look up what is cognitive dissonance, where it's like, it's unhealthy, but you continue to do it, and holding these two contrary opinions. Was that like the inspiration for this mechanic? Like what's the kernel of this game?
I think dissonance is the key word. Yeah, dissonance is the key word. It's all about placing moral dilemmas in front of the player's eyes and making them make a decision that then informs the kind of person or the kind of spy that you aspire to be in the game. And there's a built-in dissonance in the difference between the spy you aspire to be and the spy you actually are, judging by your actions in the game, in theater. So yeah, it's there's a lot of. We also have something called the pressures system, where your own psyche and emotional arsenal sort of either supports you or makes things far too hard. For instance, you need to have a conversation with someone. You need to. Lie to them about something, tell them, oh, I wasn't there yesterday. I wasn't the one who took the briefcase, let's say. But then you've had a coffee beforehand because you were super tired because you hadn't slept for 48 hours, let's say.
Okay.
So you needed to go and buy a coffee and drink it and, reduce the fatigue level, the fatigue pressure. So the fatigue pressure now goes down, but your anxiety goes way up.
Oh my God.
And then when you have that conversation with that person, trying to lie to that person and say, I wasn't the one who took the briefcase, you're going to fail.
Because your anxiety's through the roof.
Because your anxiety's through the roof. And your entire nervous system is kind of making it impossible for you to just have a simple conversation with someone.
I love that. Not only is this not a power fantasy, this is like, what if awkward conversations were even more stressful and nerve-wracking? And
It is an anti-power fantasy.
I love it.
Herschel, in many ways, is the anti-James Bond. There is no glamour in Zero Parades, and also there are zero parades.
Nice. Damn. Well, there goes my pre-order. I like parades. I wanted to see some parades.
Sorry.
Jim, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me about this. The trailer has a lot of pre-alpha gameplay, little snippets, a lot of concept art, so people think it's a long way off. Do you have any kind of target release window when people can expect to actually play this?
Sooner than you'd think.
Okay, cool. Good to hear it. Zero Parades will be coming to PC sometime, but right now there's more Gamescom Studio coming up right here on IGN.
IGN Plus is where your adventure begins.
What are you selling?
Plus is the place to get unlimited access to all the tools you need to beat your games.
Here's what you need to know for bringing down Gloomspawn.
Plus, awesome exclusive discounts on IGN Store.
Maybe this would tease open your money pouch.
Plus, ad-free browsing on IGN.com. Plus, unlimited game help tools like premium interactive maps with your own custom map markers, filters, marker notes, and more.
This will come.
Plus, access to sweepstakes, giveaways, and free game keys.
Wow. Exactly.
Want more? Head to IGN.com/plus and start your adventure today.
Hey you! Looking for a way to wear your fandom with pride? The IGN store is the ultimate destination for awesome merch and collectibles from the biggest games, movies, shows, and everything in between. Cruise the wasteland in style with a Vault Dweller hoodie and replica Pip-Boy. Kick back and relax to some of the best game soundtracks ever pressed on limited edition vinyl. Or level up your whole wardrobe with a massive selection of officially licensed apparel. From iconic properties like Star Wars and The Legend of Zelda to newer fan favorites like Atomfall and Expedition 33, the IGN store has you covered. Whatever you're into, you're bound to find something. See for yourself and head to store.ign.com today.
Coming up next on Gamescom Studio, we got a bunch of brand new trailers for upcoming games that look awesome. Don't believe me? Look at them yourself.
Wraith protocol activated. All squads, we need backup now. You guys are fucking you. Is this what you get paid for? We sent him packing, boys. Return to HQ.
Enemy spotted.
And that just about wraps us up for day 4 of our Gamescom coverage right here on IGN. If you missed anything we covered today, head on over to IGN's YouTube to catch up on all the biggest game reveals and trailers.
Tomorrow is our last day here at Gamescom, but we've got lots more to show, including brand new episodes of our weekly shows like the IGN UK podcast, Nintendo Voice Chat, Next Gen Console Watch, and Outside Xbox.
And be sure to check out the Gamescom Steam page to wishlist any of the amazing games shown off here at Gamescom this week, the biggest video game convention in the world.
But for now, thank you all so much for joining us here at Gamescom Studio on IGN. We're going to go eat some bratwurst in the parking lot and get mustard all over our nice shirts. I will see you tomorrow.
The average Cinefix movie list features nearly 100 different films and approximately 25 minutes worth of wall-to-wall deep dive analysis. To simulate that pace for this 30-second ad, we're featuring 26 different films, and before you say it, no, that math does not check out. We're not math people, we're movie people. We can't even count down from 10 without ending up at, like, 96. Subscribe to IGN Movies and TV for more Cinefix movie lists. Bad at math, great at movies.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN strategy guides and interactive maps are here to help.
One step at a time.
IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and so much more.
See? It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.
IGN Plus is where your adventure begins.
What are you selling?
Plus is the place to get unlimited access to all the tools you need to beat your games.
Here's what you need to know for bringing down Gloomspawn.
Plus, awesome exclusive discounts on IGN Store.
Maybe this would tease open your money pouch.
Plus, ad-free browsing on IGN.com. Plus, unlimited game help tools like premium interactive maps with your own custom map markers, filters, marker notes, and more.
This will come in handy.
Plus, access to sweepstakes, giveaways, and free game keys.
Wow! Exactly.
Want more? Head to IGN.com/plus and start your adventure today.